Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. It's me, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my sidekick, Austin.
How's it going? Tonight I'm actually a doctor, though.
Oh, are you Dr. Watson in my Holmes? Because
Yeah.
I feel like with this movie, we should almost be switched. I feel like you're like the weird eccentric guy.
I'm the eccentric one?
Yeah, and I'm the guy with like the regular family life.
Okay, yeah, no, I can accept that. So this time you're the sidekick.
Yeah, apparently so. Well, that would make you the genius. You know, like I've got no deductive reasoning skills. Like I could not be.
That tracks. I sensed which way the wind was blowing. That tracks.
I could not be less observant if I tried. I'm the guy
for sure.
I'm the giant Riddler fan that never attempts to figure out the Riddler's riddles. Like, I don't know why I'm as big of a Riddler fan as I am. I can't do them.
Oh, beautiful. No, you watch me do it. It's okay.
Yeah, and then maybe I will develop deductive powers of my own. But probably not, though. That probably won't happen.
No.
But
well, I mean, I can still poison your dog.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that means that you're, you know how to play multiple musical instruments, but you're also constantly on cocaine, so...
Which tracks, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Tonight, we're going to tackle our last movie for the year. This was not supposed to be the last year's movie. We were going to do one more, but we had conflicts last week where we weren't able to do one of these. So, last movie of the year, it's sort of wintry. This takes place during November. I was kind of excited when we almost did it last month, Austin, because it would have been the same time period. But tonight we're going to do Robert Downey's first Sherlock Holmes movie. This comes out in 2009. This is the very next thing that he does after Iron Man, and as fate would have it, Iron Man was our Rewind movie just 2 shows ago, and this happened to come up on a wheel spin.
Yeah, this is part of, like, the big Downey comeback, where, like, obviously Iron Man's a huge part of it, but, like, Tropic Thunder and then this, I think, are also a huge part of, like, just how big he kind of came back.
I always forget this movie is as early as it is, because I think it's really easy to look at Iron Man as his singular comeback, and then you'd figure it would take more time for him to get other roles outside of Iron Man. That's not what happened at all. I mean, you're right, Tropic Thunder was more of the kind of, like, I don't even want to say sleeper comeback, because that was a big enough movie. Like, that movie performed and is still talked about a lot now for obvious reasons. Like, it's good and controversial, so it's got that, like, you know, 1-2 punch. And
the exact mix you want.
Yeah, and then Iron Man puts him back on the map much more globally and commercially and, you know, accessibly.
Yeah.
And so he's not getting this role because of the success of Iron Man, because this comes out just a year afterwards. So I think it's really easy to assume, especially because this is such a superhero-y movie, it fits perfectly in that vein. I've always felt, I know I'm not alone, you read all the reviews at the time and they're all saying, oh, they turned Sherlock Holmes into a superhero. It seems like the only person that doesn't agree that this is a superhero movie is Robert Downey himself. Because I listened to it, or at least back when it came out on the press tour, somebody asked him that question. I watched an interview today where somebody asked him, do you think Sherlock Holmes is a superhero? And he really dodges it. He's like, well, I think Sherlock Holmes transcends all of that. I'm like, dude, it's a superhero movie. just straight up. But you'd think that he would have gotten this because he's the new big superhero player in town, and he just happened to take 2 of these kinds of projects in a row, and they were both really successful.
Well, it's also important to note that his casting was kind of controversial at the time. That they cast an American as Sherlock Holmes,
and rightly so. I mean, in its way, it would almost be like casting like a Bond, you know, like an American guy as Bond. I mean, like, Sherlock Holmes on film doesn't have exactly the same kind of history, but, like, only British people have ever played him before, to my knowledge. And he's obviously a Brit.
Mhm. Yeah, and no, I think that kind of quieted down once it came out. Like, I think it was just one of those things that people had to see, but yeah, it worked out.
Well, it helps that his accent is like flawless,
Yeah, his accent's really good.
and that it's real understated, and it doesn't sound put upon at all. If you had never seen Downey in anything, you would probably question whether or not that was a British man. But I think his look is really right for this. We shouldn't review it too much before we get into the commentary, but I'll just say this real fast, I guess. Um, the director in the special features suggested that he was who's that, Richie, that he was
Yeah, Guy Ritchie.
A cool fit for Holmes because they were going for a much more kind of modern and eccentric sort of look. And so having him look more worldly and more like almost international made sense in their minds. So you have a guy that you can't like immediately place looking at his face where he's from, but of course he has that accent, and so he looks like he could come from there or he could come from anywhere. And I think that it makes sense for their take on that character.
Hmm. Exactly. No, he is his own Holmes. He can be from anywhere.
He can come from any Holmes.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I'll head out after that one.
This, that I almost needed that joke explained. No, I'm just kidding. So this movie is not a thing that I think about much and that I've ever gone back to. And rewatching it now, I don't know why. I saw this when it came out one time, and I swear to God I took my wife, but she doesn't believe me because she watched it with me on Sunday in preparation for this. And because my wife is a giant Sherlock Holmes like book fan, like literature fan, and so I was like, oh, I should watch this with Sarah. She and I, neither of us have seen it since the theater, and that was 15 years ago. And she was like, Captain Logan, because my wife calls me Captain Logan. I swear to God, I've never seen this movie. And I'm like, no, you have to have, though. Because first of all, I have vivid memories of being in the theater next to her watching this movie. That's the first thing. But secondly, and all of this is anecdotal, but secondly, Sarah would be the only reason I would have seen this in the theater. This was just after I started the channel. This came out around Christmas of '09. I started the channel in August of that year. I was not reviewing new superhero movies yet as they were coming out, and I wouldn't have known how superhero this was unless I went and saw it. And I wasn't going to the theater weekly, and I didn't go then with Brandon or anyone else very often. Sarah was the only person I went with, and I know I didn't go to this by myself. So there's no way she didn't see it, but somehow she doesn't remember it. And yet on Sunday she loved it and said this is probably going to be like a rotation, like once every year or two kind of movie for her. She also, I didn't know this, told me that she had never seen any Sherlock Holmes on screen at all.
Wow. Okay.
As big of a fan as she is of this character, she's only ever seen it in literature. Like the closest Sarah comes to seeing, this is all personal stuff. We'll get into the movie here in a second. The closest to seeing Sherlock Holmes on screen, apparently she's ever come, are the 2 Data Sherlock Holmes episodes in TNG. Like I didn't know that.
Fascinating. Yeah. Okay.
So she's seen a portrayal of Moriarty because Moriarty's a villain in that show, and really well cast, and he's great in that. But that's the only Moriarty she's ever seen. Isn't that crazy?
That's really funny. I mean, I guess she can't say that she got to see Moriarty with this one. She got to hear Moriarty with this one.
Yeah, she still hasn't seen a Moriarty in an actual Sherlock Holmes thing. She's only seen the hologram Star Trek villain.
That's so funny. Yeah, this is my starting place with Sherlock Holmes.
Is it?
Like,
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, and I've got my books here, but this was kind of my first big thing.
Those are good looking releases.
Oh, sorry. They are, yeah. Yeah, I got these for Christmas. And like I've kind of looked at other Sherlock Holmes things here and there. I haven't seen a ton of like other Sherlock Holmes media. Like I'm more in that Sarah place with that. But
And you don't care for Sherlock, right?
no, I really like the first episode, and then it immediately falls off. But
I've only seen that first season, and it's been a long time, and I thought it was okay. And again, apparently I didn't show it to Sarah. I don't know why.
and it has like the worst Moriarty. I hate Moriarty in Sherlock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never seen that American show they made. I heard okay things about that.
Oh yeah, with Lucy Liu as Watson. Yeah, I forgot that existed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's been just a ton of this stuff, but this is the only one that seems like especially superhero. And
Well, and I grew up watching House, and that's Doctor Sherlock Holmes. Like that
yeah,
is, inspired by that.
no, absolutely. That I've seen a couple episodes of.
Hmm. I mean, it's got the formula, but I like that show.
Yeah, no, you're right. It absolutely kind of has this formula. But Sarah was really struck by how close and how authentic she felt like this tonally gets to the books, despite being such a big action thing. And in fact, the action direction didn't bother her at all. Like I expected that to be a little bit of a put off for her, or just how like grandiose the plot is. And
Yeah.
that didn't affect her at all. She was really impressed with stuff that would go over my head because I haven't read much of that, and what little I have, it's been a million years. And so she
Yeah.
was pointing out lots of stuff, and she was really surprised by the female lead, because that's a character that's only in one story, and she thought it was cool that she was even used, and like she was really with it, and just appreciated the fact that all of the physical stuff was in there, because famously, or actually not famously enough, there is a lot of action apparently in the Holmes books, but it's all off screen. And so in adapting it to film, it seems like kind of a natural choice to just show it. But apparently there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff where like he does a lot of stick fighting and says like
Yeah,
I
he's
got
like a
out
famous
of
boxer,
I got out of this
basically.
thing. If I didn't know how to do all the stick fighting, I would have died. But you don't actually see any of it happen.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, especially because so much of it's from Watson's perspective and like him just kind of transcribing things basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wonder how she would react to the sequel then, because I think this one's like perfectly balanced, like in the middle, and that one goes way farther into the action side of it.
Does it feel a
It's
lot
like I
more
wonder if
comic
that would
booky?
be the needle that like goes like too far in that realm for her.
Yeah, but if she ends up liking that Moriarty a lot,
And he's great. He's fantastic in that movie. But yeah.
RG Godzilla, doesn't Sarah have an eidetic memory? Yeah, usually, except for sometimes like personal life stuff. Those are the things we tend to argue about, like whether they actually happen.
Mhm. RJ Godzilla asks if I've seen the Basil Rathbone Holmes movies. I've not. That's one of those things I've always meant to, but just haven't gotten around to.
Yeah, I never have either. Like we all know the look of that, but I've never actually seen it.
Yeah.
Uh, Dana Vers says that show is Elementary. That's what that's called.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to watch the movie. All cards on the table. I am not quite as prepped as I usually am for these. I watched this back on Sunday and haven't had a chance to rewatch it. And again, this is not a movie I know real well. I saw it 15 years ago. But Austin is really well versed in this, so he's gonna kind of lead the show today, and I'm gonna fill in where I can. But and then watch me just not shut up like I usually do.
I wish I had a pipe. Like I feel like I should have a pipe for this.
Killer Moth Lives calls me Captain Gaslighter.
That is your superpower. You are famous for gaslighting everybody.
It's not fair. I'm not gaslight. I swear to God. I don't know how what the situation would have been where I go to the theater to see this movie and she's not there. Breakneck
Sarah's like, but I've never been to the movie theaters. Yes, you have many times.
Brayden says this is a property I know nothing about outside of when it's referenced and stuff. Yeah, and certainly a lot of people have that, and it's one of those things that's, such cultural osmosis that a lot of us know tons of things about this, even if we've never read or watched it. And it created archetypes and it created a whole literary structure.
Yeah, and Sherlock Holmes has been in the public domain for a long time too. So like, it's also everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it is one of those few because there's like two sides of the public domain. You're either like everywhere, like Sherlock Holmes and Dracula, or you're just kind of thrown out in the waste bin and nobody wants to touch you because anyone can do it. So it's like you get in one of those two places.
Let's go ahead and get into it. Everybody get ready to press play when I say now, or I'll have the... 1 second. This got unplugged. I'll have the clock on the screen so that you can line up with us if you need to. Get to timestamp 0. However you're going to watch the movie, DVD, Blu-ray, streaming. There's not a service that has this right now, so you'd have to rent it, which I think Austin did on Prime or something. And here we go. Everybody get ready to press play when I say now. We're just about to do it. Everybody please press play right now.
Yeah, and renting it through Prime today was how I learned that this movie got special edition, which I thought was really weird.
Yeah, that's so strange.
They redubbed Moriarty with the actor that plays him in 2. Because when he comes up, I was like, weird, that sounds exactly like the guy in the sequel. Oh, that's why.
So the first thing that struck me going back to this was just how much some of the score sounds like the theme from Dexter. And I could not...
Oh, weird.
I could not get that out of my head.
Yeah, and I've never seen that, so I wouldn't have even picked up on it.
I just kept associating that with creepy serial killing. And it goes together because we have a villain that has murdered a lot of people at the start of this, and
yeah,
that's...
Well, this is a Zimmer score I like too.
I don't know if that's supposed to play as kind of his theme, but I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Well, I said I think this is like a good Zimmer score.
I think so too. It's sufficiently grand and bombastic, and it certainly sounds like a Zimmer score, but he's got the period right. I like a lot of the quirkiness in it, and in its way, I think it's that's a cool introduction for your main character. Yeah, he rolls right into screen.
It's very, it's very James Bond. That's like that's a James Bond intro. I think that's almost his intro in Tomorrow Never Dies.
There's a lot of Bond in this, because when we get to the giant French henchman, who I think is one of the funniest things in this movie, that is just a Bond henchman. Like, he's just Jaws with a French accent, and it's wonderful.
Well, in these kinds of adventure movies, like, I love the the big henchman. Like, obviously that's a big thing in like Indiana Jones and James Bond. Yeah,
True.
Like I love that kind of stuff. And they mine some good comedy with that here.
When he rolls into frame like that, it also just sets the tone. Where, like, at least if you haven't seen previews, it's the last thing you would expect from the typical stuffy Sherlock Holmes. Also, this staircase will stay with you.
We start in a pretty intense place. Like, we're running into a sacrificial chamber.
Yeah, right away you're getting the occult stuff. You're wondering how much supernatural is going to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And I like how it's kind of unnerving, not in like an actual like horror sort of way, but just in that right away, I don't know if I can trust it. I remember being in the theater going, are we really going to do like Sherlock Holmes versus like a big supernatural like Hellboy kind of villain? And then you get about halfway into the movie and it's won me over to the point where I'm starting to go, okay, if it is supernatural, I don't even know if I have a problem with it now. And ultimately,
it's a question of
spoilers for this.
Or...
I'm glad it isn't. Say again.
I was gonna say is it Scooby-Doo or is it Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island where like the monsters are real? Like,
that's great.
It's got that kind of thing. I was thinking about that today.
Absolutely. Well, the look of this, some of the writing, like, it's very comic book. And I mean, obviously we're saying superhero because the formula, and we'll talk about that. We're treating Sherlock Holmes' deductive ability like a superpower in this, and we're dealing with all of the personal sacrifice and difficulty that superheroes go through because of their superpower and their sense of responsibility, and maybe not as much in Sherlock Holmes' case, sense of responsibility, but the like isolation and feeling of otherness that you get in being too good at something, and in being the only person that can do what you do, and in deciding not to have a personal life in order to pursue this. And so it has all of that, but it doesn't just feel superhero, it also feels comic booky, like on almost the level of a Blade or something, in
Sure, yeah.
just how like stylized and stylistic the thing is. And
Yeah.
the writer pitched this with a 25-page comic book. Like, that was
That's funny.
all intentional.
Yeah. No, and Slipmaker mentioned this in the community chat, and he just mentioned it here too. And it's something I hadn't thought of until I saw it in the community post, which is because he said that he could tell it's a movie that I really like because you can see elements of stuff like pirates in it.
Dude, the movie just
And,
almost ended 5 minutes in. Did you see that? It was almost done.
It's almost there, Watson, you dumbass. But no, and I had that moment where I was like, oh, that is kind of true. Like, this does kind of feel like the late stage of some of those adventure movies that I liked growing up, and that's probably why it was such a big deal to me when this came out. Also, I'll just get it out now. Mark Strong just looks like Bela Lugosi Dracula in this movie. It's a very good look for him.
Wouldn't have thought of that. That's true. I think he's got a lot of presence as the villain in this. I also like all the on-the-nose names. That also makes it feel really comic booky. And I don't know how much of that was in the Holmes novels, but I don't think... Somebody tell me, because I don't know about Holmes. I don't think Blackwood is a character from the books. I think they made him up for this.
I think they do make him up for this, yeah.
And you've got characters like Coward, like just as on the nose as possible. Lord Coward. Gee, I wonder if that guy has any bravery. Okay. I haven't decided what to do with Standish yet. It's like, is he standoffish? Is he just he won't sit down? Like, I don't know what to do with Stand. He's sort of standing. Like, when he's
I'm getting a little standish.
Way ahead of us, but when we get to the end and when we kill him, the way he falls, I looked at Sarah and I was like, okay, I mean, like, it's Standish. Like, he doesn't actually drop when he falls. He's sort of just, like, standing erect. I'm like, is that why he's called that? Was it prophetic for that? That's weird.
Exactly. Everything's all, a piece of a puzzle.
But I also, the more I've read up on this, don't feel like the comic book direction is all that against the material. Like, at first glance, it seems like too modern and commercial of a choice, or like it's already commercial, but like of a like trying too hard to be accessible to a general audience kind of choice. I think the balance with that ends up being struck incredibly well, because it could have been formulaic in the wrong way and modern in the wrong way, and that could have just been absolutely awful and obnoxious. But the reason it works is because it is like, these kinds of books were the pulp fiction of their day, and so
it's like this and stuff like Tarzan, or like the part of that proto superhero scene.
Yeah, people saw this as lowbrow literature back at the time, and I think it's easy to forget that because people just don't read anymore. Our standards are so low that if somebody's reading a Sherlock Holmes novel now, it's like, wow, he's a reader! And back then, reading Sherlock Holmes was not that far away from reading a Batman comic.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I mean, Arthur Conan Doyle, eventually hit that point where he was like, I'm so done with Sherlock Holmes. I'm just going to kill him. I'm done with this guy.
And so it's appropriate in that this was the wide what am I trying to say? Like popular entertainment of its day, the like broadly accessible kind of thing, just like comics would be later, just like superhero movies would be by this point, and certainly are now. And so
Yeah.
I it's appropriate to adapt it this way in that way, and then also again just the way Holmes is described in the books. It's not actually as crazy of a thing to do with him as it sounds like it is. It's just that nobody had been crazy enough to actually show the action parts before, and now it's an artistic choice as well as a good commercial choice. Like it's smart because more people are going to be are going to enjoy it and be interested in it. Obviously, if it's got that action component, but it's good adaptation because I it has that built-in good visual component that wasn't mined in the literature, and so that's how you make it a movie as opposed to a book that you're trying to figure out how do you translate this, and so that makes it more of
Yeah.
an artistic choice.
One, I think they do a good job with then framing a lot of the action around the Holmes vision superpower thing, because both in terms of bringing it back to who this character is, and just also like Guy Ritchie likes this kind of speed ramping thing where you slow down and then speed up, and you slow down and speed up. So it's like you kind of get both sides where it's like it's very just this director's vision, but also thoughtful about what you're actually adapting.
Yeah, because he's finding ways to use that in service of the material as opposed to coming
Mhm.
up with like dumb excuses or no excuses and just doing it because it's a stupid stylistic thing. Like, it, again, this is a movie that gets really gigantic in its scope, but
Mhm.
as far as it's able to, all of the action serves the story. The action gets a little
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it gets pretty big, but it also, and I think it was maybe Daniverse that mentioned this earlier in the chat near the beginning. It's also got a third act that's really small, and
Yeah.
this and the sequel, I think, do a good job of having kind of subversive climaxes, like say the Doctor Strange movies do, where it's not just we're gonna fight and beat up the bad guy. Like the climax in this movie is basically just Sherlock Holmes going, "Yep, and this is how you did it." I know. So it's like we bring it back to that whodunit kind of
Yeah,
place.
we go back to that formula, and that's where
Yeah.
some of the obvious reverence for the material comes from, where it's not afraid of that long exposition dump, which you've got to have.
Oh yeah,
Murder on
this
the
movie
Orient
loves
Express
having Downey
also
explain
does that.
things.
Say again.
I said this movie loves Downey explaining things,
Yes.
and I can't blame them because he's really good at it.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that I ended up liking Murder on the Orient Express and its sequels so much is it's not afraid of that stuff. Like it's the same kind of thing where it'll get to the end and he's pointing all that
Yeah,
out everything
just
that
like the
happens
very
and
classic whodunit thing. Yeah,
it's the end of Clue, except without
yeah,
multiple
exactly.
endings.
Yet we got to figure that out.
One thing I also really appreciate about the superpower angle, so sort of the deductive reasoning in fight scenes, is that it makes Holmes feel less like a like male Mary Sue or something, where like all of these various things he's able to do, because Holmes classically is a jack of all trades kind of character. He's got all of these ambitions and hobbies and things he's good at, and this movie suggests that he's able to do all of those things for the same reason. And so the same deduction that you're just being able to observe things and anticipate what's going to happen next, he's able to bring that into fights. Now, the fact that he can do it so incredibly quickly is what makes it feel like such a superpower. But it
Yeah.
also, so like, I don't know how much it makes sense that he's able to do all of those calculations in his head as fast as he does, and that's a lot of what makes it feel so comic booky.
Mhm.
But it is cool that, and also he's not as good at that as as he is in just solving crimes. Like, he fails more often in fights in this, it seems, than he does with other things. But he does seem to be able to make those calculations incredibly quickly.
It's kind of that Stan Lee narration thing, right? Where it's like, at 2 seconds he had his costume on and he was like out the door, like ready for adventure or whatever, like that kind of a thing. Like, that's how fast he puts all this together.
But I also like that it's not concerned with perfect realism, and there's a really nice balance there too, where it's modern in a filmmaking sense, but it feels, and I'm sure they're cutting corners and they're taking liberties, but as a layman, it feels remarkably authentic to the period to me, and it's incredible. Like, the writing just feels right. Like a lot of this dialogue is just smooth as butter.
Yeah, for sure.
And that makes it feel like
that's what
more than just a dumb action movie.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you want too with like this kind of a character, that his whole thing is that, he's eccentric and he talks and he figures things out.
And I feel like a lot of the praise that we're throwing at this, you could say the exact same things, or a lot of them, about at least the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And if I had seen this and didn't see a director credit, and you told me Gore Verbinski had directed this, I might have believed you. Although I do think that the directing style here is a little bit more reserved than his, and that's just how wild Verbinski can go. Because this gets a little wild.
It's crazy dark.
The big difference, well, dark and also just nutty and bizarre in some of the action sequences, particularly where your main character, like Jack Sparrow or someone, will get lucky in a fight scene where there's a giant Rube Goldberg machine and everything goes his way just because he's the lead. That's not happening as much with this. Like, Holmes gets himself more out of situations, more than just the universe coalescing to him, than he might in a Gore Verbinski movie. But also, there's a little bit less silly comic relief than you would expect in a Gore Verbinski movie.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, our comic relief is more just Holmes and Watson have like a very, kind of comedic banter. They're back and forth.
And I think it's so smart that a lot of the levity comes from them. Like, they serve as their own comic relief. Neither of them is the comic relief character, and neither of them on their own, do you agree with this, are particularly funny. I feel like all of that is coming from the chemistry that they have. Like, there's a mathematical formula when you put those two guys together that turns into hilarity sometimes and amusing banter. But then there's also this real clear like humanity in their relationship, and you see the yin and yang, and you see the difference in how the two guys look at the world. So you see the ways in which they fill in each other's gaps like an old married couple, and then you also see the ways in which they're not remotely compatible.
Exactly, yeah. Discombobulate. No, exactly. They do a good job of kind of hitting all those beats, and then they don't go too far with it either. It's very in that way, I guess, kind of like how they do the dialogue in Iron Man, where it's just these characters just kind of play off each other so well.
Well, there's apparently some of the same kind of improvisation happening with this, because I think that's just how Downey works. And
yeah, I imagine so with them.
I get the sense that more of this must be scripted than something like Iron Man was, but it is impressive to me, and this is talked about in special features on the disc, it's impressive to me that he's able to do that in this accent.
Yeah.
That, like, he can come
I wonder how hard that was to, like, keep that up.
Like, in this accent with the proper vernacular? How do you do that?
When somebody mentioned earlier too that he played British in Chaplin, and I know I've seen him do Australian in a few things. So like he's done a couple stuff where like he's done an accent, but a lot of that is also before like his big comeback, So he's kind of been out of practice a little bit.
Well, and he said that was the reason that he was comfortable enough taking this. That he had done some accent work on Chaplin, and also that he was like later in his life and was experienced enough that he knew how to not just put on an accent, but to make it like part of him in a scene. And he had that down by that point. So he acted like he could not have done this in his 20s. And interestingly, Ritchie and I think Warner Brothers originally wanted to cast a lot younger for this. So the reason Warner's takes this project on is because it sounded like Batman Begins to them. And they had a good hit with that. And the original pitch with this was to kind of explore more of the early days of Sherlock Holmes. And it was supposed to be more of a Batman Begins thing. And weirdly, they go totally the other direction, and it's
after like a Skyfall thing.
It's real late in his career, and that really gives it its own kind of like fresh affect. I think where you can kind of the reason I like it is because you can imagine a whole like universe of stories before this, and if you're familiar with the Sherlock Holmes stories, this almost would probably watch like just a new real late adventure after all these other things that have happened, and you can kind of imagine those in there. I can't remember what I said, what the second thing was. I'll think of it.
Yeah, no, that was something I really thought of, coming back to this, because I watched this a lot when it came out, and it's been a couple of years since I've seen it, like probably, late 2010s maybe, and like I really had that moment of just like, oh, like it is kind of fresh that it is just we're like at the end game like already, you know what I mean? Like especially with Watson, like he's like getting ready to leave, like he's like, yeah, I'm kind of on the outs with this stuff.
Well, and that's the other thing is it makes you feel like you're mining new territory. That's what I was going to say is it watches in a really weird way as almost a like legacy sequel that's just out of any particular continuity, where it goes, everybody knows this character, everybody has seen and read all of the stories, and so let's come back. It's sort of like, in a weird way, like a Hook or something, where it's like, let's do a movie well after all of these different adaptations of something and go, what if it kept going? It's almost one of those.
Yeah, or like the Scooby-Doo movie, like from the 2000s.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Not as meta as that is, obviously, but...
It's also interesting how close this version of Sherlock Holmes is to his version of Iron Man. And so, like, the performance he's doing is real different from that, but, like, they're both really eccentric, they're both brilliant, they're both, like, antisocial to some degree, and don't really know how to, like, keep relationships going. I almost want to headcanon this as, like, a prequel to Iron Man, where Holmes is an ancestor of Howard Stark.
Oh, beautiful.
You can sort of
Where
see
does
it.
this fall in the heart motif?
At some point, the Starks moved from Britain to America the Holmes, and they changed their name to Stark for some reason.
At some point, you just have a daughter that carries the legacy.
I guess the only difference is just that he's, like, brilliant in a sort of different way, although he's also trying to invent things. We just... Like, I don't know how great of an inventor he would be if he put all of his energy into that, but, like, we just saw the scene where he's figuring out that if he plays at the right frequency on an instrument, he the bugs to go a different direction. Like he's inventing weird things.
He's gonna become Ant-Man. He's not Iron Man. His gun silencer didn't work though. That's how you know he's Ant-Man instead of Iron Man. His weapons manufacturing isn't working quite as well.
Well, and that's interesting too, right? Is that this is not exactly an altruistic character. I think the best argument against this Sherlock Holmes is a superhero is that he's not selfless, and I don't know that you could argue that he ever really gets selfless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he also will like turn down money from like people he doesn't want to be employed for, and like will still solve the mystery despite that. Like you do have things like that in this.
No, that's an excellent point, but is that because he's doing the right thing, or is it because he doesn't want to be controlled by the government or powerful people? Because the main reason, I mean, his main motivation for what he does is he needs challenge. It's not really to help people and to save the world so much as it is, and like maybe deep down he's got a soft spot and he's glad he's helping people. It's difficult to tell for sure with this character, with this version of the character, I would say. Remember, this is a guy that sits around bored for 2 weeks and gets like high on drugs and plays random instruments just trying to like keep himself busy in any way, but he's bored out of his mind and he has to have and so he's just waiting for the next case because that's the only thing that actually has a chance at challenging him.
Mm-hmm. But he'll also do all that just kind of toiling around over those calls to the dark side, if you will, where like he's got someone like an Irene Adler who's just Catwoman in this movie, modern Catwoman, and,
and it works.
She's trying to pull him over. Yeah, well, and it's funny. I was thinking about it today because there's a lot of other versions of Sherlock Holmes that do that, and I really don't like it, but I like it here, and I can't really explain why. I don't know if it's just I like the actors and their chemistry, or if it just genuinely works better with this specific take. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's partly because the performance is so good, and I think she's just really compelling, and like I like she's kind of mysterious, and this has such a Bond feel that it makes sense to have a Bond girl in it, and she really fits that. Yeah. I think that's part of why it works here, and then also just plot-wise, she connects us up to this like larger looming Moriarty thing that's going on, and that as a sequel booster is one of the best and coolest ways I've seen that done.
Yeah, and the way we handle Moriarty is very Bond, and like the Blofeld thing and like the Connery movies, where he's the shadowy man and you only see his hand, or it's almost like a Dr. Claw kind of thing. But yeah, because Irene Adler in the original story that she's in, she's basically just a woman that outsmarts Sherlock Holmes, and that's kind of it. Like, it's the point of that story is, people don't like they underestimate her because she's a woman in this time, and then so does Sherlock Holmes at the end of the day, and that's kind of like the big moment of like, oh yeah, like she got one over on me. And then here, we reinterpret that to basically be Catwoman.
The structure of this is really good. I agree with all of that, but I don't know as much about the background.
I just thought I'd throw that out.
I love the structure of this. I like that we get as much Blackwood as we do. Like, that we kind of take our time with that before he's allegedly killed. It would be, and I could see doing this. I could see a tighter hour-and-a-half version of this movie where he's killed in the first, 10 minutes, and we don't really spend any time with him. But I like that he feels like this kind of larger-than-life, creepy presence, and that we're really laying on all the occult stuff thick. And it also just gets a lot done in that first half hour, where like
Yeah.
it has such a good sense of rhythm in jumping back and forth between setting up the bad guy plot and establishing the the motivation of your protagonist and the dynamic with him and his sidekick. Like it's really tightly woven, but it takes his time in the ways it needs to.
Yeah, it's also cool because with that cold open, that could have just been, here's the end of another mystery is on, and then we're waiting until like the next case starts. Like it is cool that that cold open does matter.
Yeah, and you don't know if it's going to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me read these super chats. So I guess this is a joke of some kind. I don't understand this, so you'll have to tell me what this means. But Teddy says my favorite version of Sherlock Holmes is Sean Spencer. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, offhand, I'm not sure either.
But he said, "LOL, it's canon."
And
Although I don't
was
know
response
if
to
that's in
something
reply
else.
to his own. So I'm sorry, I don't know who that is or what that means. So I don't know if that's a joke or if that's actually an actor or. You get one fart joke. I appreciate that that did not continue. But I also like that he's as rude as he is in polite society, but like keeps up the pretense of politeness in the way that he does. It makes him so super sarcastic.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And that was one of the things that I thought this movie really nailed. Austin is the like the contrast of the like polite society of the Victorian era versus our much more lax society now. And I say that because this is made in such a modern way that I feel like the you're kind of highlighting just how differently people treated each other at that point, and like what the social expectations were.
Yeah, exactly. I also think, if I remember correctly, I think they reference at least the title of her original story that she comes from, because she says something about a scandal, and I think it's either here or later on she mentions Bohemia, but there's like a slight reference to at least the title that she comes from.
Yeah, Teddy, that was over my head, man. I saw like one episode of Psych. He said that's the
I've
name
never
of the main
seen
character
that.
from that show. If DJ
Oh,
was
okay, I've
here,
never
he
seen
would
that.
know what he was talking about. But I've only seen one episode of that show, and it was like 10 years ago. But yes, that
Yeah,
is like
for
a
sure.
Sherlock Holmes kind of show. He also says in a $10 super chat, thanks for the support, man. It's what a lot of Sherlock Holmes or Sherlock type characters have, where it's just about the challenge and nothing else. Gregory House, who is basically Dr. Holmes, is that at its furthest.
Yeah,
But then
absolutely.
the reason those characters remain compelling is because there's always at least that residue of compassion underneath.
Mhm.
And what makes it difficult sometimes to decide if that compassion is there is because usually they don't believe it about themselves. And so they'll protest it. And when the writing is good, it's nuanced enough that the viewer can maybe see it. It's kind of ambiguous.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Well, that, and you get stuff here like, he's also like a pretty bad person to work for, with how he's like mistreating people. So it's like, we got some of like the rougher edges on here.
Oh, absolutely. Because with this Holmes, there's also all the manipulation he's doing in trying to get his best friend broken up from his fiance because he like doesn't know how to live without him, and it's a completely codependent relationship. And so he basically treats it like the movie for Holmes almost treats that like a love triangle, which is correct, I
Oh,
think.
it absolutely does. Yeah, it absolutely does. No, if you were to take it into like the Batman place, it would be like if you were to actually play with like the meta idea of like the Batman and Robin gay thing.
Yes. But I don't think there's
They're
any
also...
like homosexuality or homosexual tension with this. I think it's if you want to read that in there, whatever. I don't see that. I think it's I just think there are people that see homoeroticism in literally everything. Where it's like if there's
I agree. Like I'm saying, like that's like the subtext of it. Like absolutely, it's not like a literally they're gay for each other.
Right?
Like,
no, you're right. The subtext is that's the closest to a marriage this guy is comfortable ever getting.
Yeah.
That's what that is, and he's clearly heterosexual because he has such a natural sexual tension with her, but he wouldn't ever act on it in any serious way. Like he's maybe in a carnal sense interested in sex, but he's certainly not interested in a long-term relationship or marriage.
Mm-hmm. No, because like during sex, he would start talking about like playing music to bugs or something, or like.
Yeah, or he'll start making weird deductions based on like a scar she has, or
oh my god,
like he's in bed with a woman and he can tell her her entire life story because he's seen her naked.
No, that just like flooded my brain with just the image of the way we do fight scenes in this, where we go into his head and he like works out strategy.
And is he just slowing it down?
He's gonna work out a strategy.
That's the Sherlock Holmes porn film.
Beautiful. It's really weird that it's in slow motion for so long and then speeds up.
But you know what? It's new. I don't know that anybody's ever done that.
Exactly. The game is afoot.
I gotta tell you, I could not have anticipated that this conversation would have gone there. I couldn't have guessed that.
But I'm so glad it did.
I'm proud of us. I really am. But no, the codependent angle, I think makes a ton of sense. I like the kind of natural contradiction of this guy doesn't know how to live with people and is super antisocial and would kind of rather be alone. Like people bore him and they can't live up to his intellect and all of that. But at the same time, he needs someone else to kind of drag him through the world. Like, as brilliant as he is, in a lot of... This also just rings true, right? It mines for truth. Like, a lot of eccentrics are... And brilliant minds are incredibly competent at what they do and incredibly inept at basic life things.
Yeah, it's like that genius that, can't work out what to wear in the morning type thing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of it is priorities. It's like, it's not that he's stupid and he couldn't figure that out. It's that that doesn't interest him, but he needs to be able to do it. And so again, Watson fills in his gaps. I was reminded a lot of the Tick Arthur relationship in this, because in really every version, but especially, well, I guess the animated series and the Patrick Warburton series both have kind of token episodes that do a big scene like this, where Arthur will want to go out on a date with a girl, and the Tick will just assume that he's going to. Because, like, he follows them everywhere, and he sees them as almost like a married couple. That, like, well, we're a pair, we're inseparable. We go everywhere together, we do everything together. And then when Arthur says, no, it's just me, he feels slighted, but also doesn't know what to do with himself without that guy. And that's exactly what you have here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be shocked if Edlund wasn't thinking about that kind of stuff when making the tick, or at the very least, subconsciously.
Yeah. Well, it also is a classic sort of relationship, again, with a brilliant,
Yeah.
eccentric sort of person. It makes me
Exactly,
wonder
yeah.
how much of that angle is in the books, because I know Watson is, just the guy that follows him around and writes his story. I don't know just how much of a partner he's actually played up in the books, because I know in a lot of screen stuff before this, he's a little bit more bumbling.
hmm Yeah, I think that just depends on the take. But like he is just kind of there for Sherlock to, explain the stuff too. Uh, I also really like, now that we're at a scene with him again, I like Sherlock's relationship with this inspector and their banter as well, where he's constantly crapping on him for being a bad cop. He's almost like a Gordon from like the original 4 Batman movies with how he treats him.
Well, and what I was going to say about that is, yeah, and then we get a great payoff for it, where it
Yeah.
looks like maybe they're both in on that, and they play it up so that uh, they can like get one up on bad guys, because they have a whole thing later where they're where they have a whole scheme together, and you think that he is that Sherlock Holmes is like once again dumping on him real hard, and then it turns out that they had the whole thing planned out, and I found myself going, oh, I don't know why we don't actually play the Batman and Gordon relationship like that more often in things. Like, why don't Batman and Gordon pretend to hate each other?
Yeah. And that'd be a way of making that, like I said, I can't think of what his name is now. That original 4 movie, Gordon, making that kind of a take work.
Yes, no, it absolutely would. Because, I mean, like Bruce does that with his own personal life, where he has this kind of ruse where he, deception, where he pretends like he is just a playboy that's just sleeping with women all the time, and it would maybe be smart to have that kind of deception with Gordon, because it's always public knowledge that Gordon works with Batman, and he's thought of as an illegal vigilante. Like, why wouldn't you keep that a secret as long as you could?
I did not catch this until now.
Yeah.
But the gypsy that he pays off to read Watson's fortune
Yes.
is walking away from Sherlock as Watson's bringing the food over. That's a good, small detail.
Yeah, that's a great
I don't know
setup.
how I missed that. Yeah, we're kind of already setting up that he paid her off.
Well, and I also like that right after that, I don't know, like, first of all, just this relationship is a ton of fun, because Watson has every reason to keep leaving, and he tries, and he can't. They're just, like, magnetically connected to each other. And Watson feels, like, as much as Sherlock needs him, Watson feels like a responsibility to his friend, where there's probably a part of him that's like, this guy will die if I'm not around. I think that might be part of it, and his life is more interesting with Sherlock Holmes in it. Like, indisputably, I don't think he can help but realize that he is a part of something much larger than himself when he's dealing with Sherlock Holmes, because he's uncovering all of these incredible mysteries. And so he's, in a literary sense, he knows that he's hanging around with the person that the universe revolves around.
Yeah, and I mean they don't go into it a ton, but like you can obviously draw in like he's a military man that used to go off on these grand adventures, and Sherlock's kind of the last remaining aspect of that in his life.
There's that too. Good call.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was gonna say, I really like that that line, like just before this this gypsy bit, where they kind of check back in on the supernatural idea and try to get the audience like off the scent or just like speculating more by actually having their Sherlock Holmes say, I mean, it's possible it's supernatural. I really love that he doesn't straight up go, no, that's impossible. And you never have him say the obligatory, whatever is left, however improbable, is likely the truth line. He never says that in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also like before this when Watson's like, are you really gonna, investigate, whether this guy came back, and Sherlock's like, no, I'm going to investigate how he came back.
Yeah,
where it's like there is that element of, I don't really believe it's supernatural. Like it could be, but like at the end of the day, we just have to accept that this guy is still alive. We got to figure out why.
Well, I like what he says is you don't jump to any sort of conclusion. Like even if it is supernatural, if we start making that assumption, he says we're letting the facts. We're letting our ideas dictate the facts, as opposed to the other way around.
This is like an Evil Dead shot. They'll like zoom in on his face.
That's true.
Shot. I think it was this moment where he pulls out his little utility belt, where I had there's a little bit of Sleepy Hollow in this movie and how they portray him. There's like a little bit of that Johnny Depp in Sleepy Hollow eccentricism to him, and of course he's got a Batman utility belt.
Yeah, then there's more Batman there, and it makes a lot of sense that he would walk around with tools like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting to me that at no point, and I don't know if we're just trying to avoid the obvious iconography so that it doesn't feel like we're leaning on any kind of nostalgia bait, and also just that we're trying to kind of carve out our own feel and mood with this. But it's interesting that at no point does he pull out a magnifying glass, and like you'd think that there would be places where you'd need to look at something real up close. Like I don't know that that's too cliche.
That's part of his superpower.
Oh, that he's got microscopic vision.
I mean, kind of. He's walking around this room, and then later on, at the end, he's gonna, be able to piece together like every little bit of it just from glances here.
Like it's 1890, and you're telling me that you don't have a magnifying glass in that utility belt.
He has no screens to look at. He's got perfect vision. He's got beyond perfect vision. He's got supernatural vision.
Now, I might be wrong about this because I've not seen a lot of Screen Holmes stuff. I feel like when I was a kid, I think I saw like a couple of TV episodes of different things. I feel like the like spray stuff that he uses, that he's like squirting on stuff, I feel like that's been a Holmes thing before.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I don't know if I'm right about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's, a detective-y kind of thing to do.
Also, the metal, like, electric fork thing that he gets later that's used to such wonderful comedic effect with the French henchman, you think he'd keep that. You put that on his utility belt.
In that action scene. I think that guy throws it away, but he could have gone back for it. He could also try to reinvent that. He could, like, come back here.
You just come back here and steal it.
Or steal it.
Maybe the guy's got another one. I don't know.
Yeah. You could probably charge anything. Just make, like, a metal stick.
So I like moments like this where Sherlock Holmes could be 3 steps ahead, like he's acting like he is, or he could be completely full of crap. Watson says Reardon was working for Blackwood, and Sherlock Holmes says, "Of course he was." But the question is
still 6 steps behind me, Watson.
The question is for what ends, and I'm like, well, this is a situation where you could just be completely full of crap and pretending like you know what's going on.
I also don't know if you had this, but this whole sequence, especially like, he'll find something and then we'll kind of flash back to it.
Is he eating a corn dog? What is that?
It might, yeah. Oh, no, well, they mentioned toffee apples, so it's probably that.
Okay, it's something on a stick. Oh, you're right. That is
Yeah.
what it is. Oh, there he is. There's French Jaws. And something's happened to
There's
him
our guy.
before. Look at him. Look at how cut up his face is.
But that scene where they're going through everything in that room reminded me of like, well, it starts with Arkham Origins, the night where like you do the examining there, where you can like fast forward and
Yes.
rewind stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do that without magnifying glass?
With being superpowered.
I love the way the scene is set up when he says meat or potatoes. That's such good writing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then
Especially because it's like kind of like a cliched joke, and then they have their own stamp on it.
yes. And then Watson's like, "Nah, I'm done. My 10 minutes are up." And that's just a fun motif all the way through the movie. That he keeps trying to leave.
Yeah. We also have the Spider-Man 3 ring here.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. That's a good call.
We're gonna do like the slow-mo, like, oh my God.
And then here in a little bit, when Watson's going to ask him what this thing is, and he just goes, "I don't know."
Well, I love that he says, "I don't know" in French.
Oh, yeah, that's right. His line delivery is so great with that.
Yeah, and I love their little back and forth where it's like, "I'm not ready yet. It's okay, take your time," and then we reverse it a second later.
They also could have gone way too far with technology, and I like the line they're walking with that, where this is right in the heat of Industrial Revolution, and we're about to get really close to, electricity powering everything, but like we're not quite there yet. And we could have, so like we use this thing to say like, here's how close we're getting, and so there's the scientist guy that's got things like this, and these things would exist then, but they wouldn't be prevalent everywhere. So like I like that they come up with an excuse to get to that, but that it's not like they uncover some gigantic like technology, like for them futuristic technology that shouldn't be invented for another 50 years. Like I like that they don't go to that. They're getting closer to it, not to that, but like they're getting closer to uncovering more technological marvels when you get to the end and you get the thing with like the early radio. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I mean, we had that scene earlier where they see the Tower Bridge being... That's a great shot, by the way, this way up.
Yeah, and sorry, I wanted to mention that shot real quick, because the last thing I think we did a rewind commentary on was... why can't I think of that? I
don't even remember.
I'm sorry, my brain is stopped.
It's okay. I can look to see what our next one is. I don't even remember.
I just suddenly can't think of titles. It's Madam Web. I had Black Widow stuck in my head. It was Madam Web.
Okay.
Madam Web does that shot every 5 minutes, where they just keep flipping the camera up. This movie does that shot one time, and it's the cleverest use of that I've ever seen, where it goes this side up, and then it corrects itself. That's so cool. And then we had to watch Madam Web that won't stop freaking doing that shot.
That's really funny. But no, I was gonna say, like, with the development thing, you have that scene where they see the Tower Bridge and they're talking about, the Industrial Revolution, and obviously it's set up for where the climax is gonna be. But like, it's also just good world building and just setting yourself in a time and place.
Well, and you're taking advantage of how interesting this time period is. Just this kind of snapshot in time. This very there's a very short amount of time where the world looked exactly like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. This is such a specific time.
This was in the trailer. when he throws the little hammer at the guy with the big hammer.
Yeah.
They sold this movie real hard on 2 images. I remember this from 15 years ago. I didn't even go back and look at the trailer. I just remember this. One was the little hammer.
And that was Donkey Kong.
Yes, that was Donkey Kong. I said that to my wife the other day. One of them was the little hammer thrown at the guy with the big hammer, and the other one was naked Robert Downey in the bed.
Yes. They sold it really hard on like this guy. Like I remember seeing like a ton of stuff with just like, oh, there's this big guy we got, and Sherlock Holmes has got to fight him. And then they also sold it really heavy on just he's naked.
Yes, I feel like on the one end you can say it's the safe commercial way to sell the movie in showing some of the big action stuff and making it look as not traditional Sherlock Holmes as possible. And in another way, you could say that that's the braver thing to do. That's actually the riskier thing you're doing because it doesn't look like a Sherlock Holmes movie.
Mm-hmm. Especially when people are already like, "Oh, you cast Robert Downey as Sherlock Holmes?"
Yeah. And then Iron Man actually could have worked against it. It's amazing that it didn't.
Yeah.
It's crazy how seamless this shot is. Like even now, 15 years later. The visual effects in this are really impressive. Like, there's certainly places where I can tell that you've got CG matte paintings and that it doesn't look perfectly realistic. But again, the fact that it's got a heightened kind of comic book feel fills in the gaps with that. It's not trying to look...
some of that stuff just looks moody,
too realistic.
Like No, in that kind of way, it has what we talked about with Pirates when we did those, which is just that kind of old Hollywood feel updated.
That's right, yeah. Well, and they do so much practical, like it's really respectable how much they did on location and how much they built. And so when you look at behind the scenes, there are green screens everywhere, but they're little sections of what's otherwise either a built set or location shooting. So they were really smart about this. We never do this now. They go to London and they shoot in real places, and then they put green in places where they either have to block out something that is too contemporary or to put in more stuff that will sell it as being the time period that it's supposed to be, as opposed to
like
just
a Lord of the Rings thing,
shooting it all on green. Mm-hmm. And so these guys get to actually play in the world as it should look to the best that they can. But then they're still filling in so that we'll buy this period more and to make it look a little bit more comic booky.
Yeah. No, very true.
I like that after they have this giant incident on the pier that they get arrested.
Yeah, a lot of things, Ghostbusters jail scene.
That's true. A lot of things would have them just go home. And yes, some of this was self-defense. Mm-hmm. But also...
It was also just them when anybody got there, too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They don't even know that there was, for sure, that there was another person that they were dealing with.
I mean, what did Watson do? He sunk the Titanic. Way before it was supposed to sink.
Robert, $2 super chat, says this movie has a fun Gore Verbinski vibe to it. Yeah, you're late to the party, man. We've already talked about that. But you are correct.
Get out of here, Robert.
We both agree with that because we said it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it's not something I'd really thought about, but I'm sure subconsciously it was there.
I'm really surprised by that because since we've announced this, I've heard 2 or 3 people on the channel say that. And I had it real hard when I watched this last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's been so long since I've gone back to it.
I immediately, 15 minutes into this, went, "Oh, Austin likes this movie because it feels like a Verbinski film."
But this is also at a weird place where I feel like we're shifting in culture, and this is the last of those kinds of movies that are starting to die out
Yes.
as we're moving on to what will be like the MCUification of Hollywood. So like it also maybe never occurred to me because I think of it as post Iron Man. Like it's so just in that era as opposed to before it when it very much is.
Oh,
But
yeah, that's true. So you're saying that some of what Verbinski is doing is also just kind of in the air at that time.
well, no, definitely. But I'm also just thinking about it as like because of when it comes out, I associate it with the fact that we've moved on from that. So it's
Okay.
like even though yeah, like it is still in line with that stuff. It's just and like I said, it's probably just because I haven't gone back to it in so long.
Well, this is a good time to talk about this. What is
Yeah.
fascinating to me? Oh, by the way, I'll just say real quick. I like that we'll, yeah, as much of an action movie as this is, and I think it's really smart to do it right after one of the biggest set pieces in the movie.
Mhm.
When we're constantly moving the story forward, and he gets the bag over his head, and he's taken to this secret society, and we stop everything so that he can explain how he knows where he is and all of that. Like we keep making sure to root it back in the deduction and giving all kinds of examples of just how brilliant Holmes is at this and letting him use his superpower.
Yeah. When I love that guy's frustration of like, haha, you don't know where you are, do you?
And he's
Oh,
like, actually,
okay.
I do, and you're going to die. I love that.
I love that Downey he puts like a level of like, oh, you think I wouldn't know? As if you actually put a bag on my head, moron. Like this is who you are. He almost takes like offense to that.
Why'd you even bother to do that?
Yeah. Where he's like personally slighted, so he's a bit meaner.
But no, I think this is a good time to talk about this. It is fascinating to me how well this movie did with how little I ever hear about it now.
Interesting, yeah, because I feel like, I mean, maybe not like as much, but like at the very least, it's cult classic status, if not like, because I feel like every year there's still talk of Sherlock Holmes 3 and when are we gonna get it? And yeah, like we're gonna make it at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely development hell, and like I've heard that some from the
Yeah.
studio, but and obviously these days with the internet, everybody's kind of in their own echo chambers. This to me
Yeah.
feels real buried. Like people have just forgotten about it, and I forgot about it is part of it. Like if this was more in the cultural discussion, I would have been reminded to go back and check it out again and finally watch that sequel because I've never seen that. And I didn't mention that earlier. We're an hour into this. I've not seen the sequel, or I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And I didn't do that in preparation for this because I thought it would be fun to like just focus on this and have this under my belt before I look at that movie, and be able to
Yeah.
kind of give you guys more of my immediate reaction on it when we get to that. We
Yeah.
might front load the sequel a little earlier than we usually would, just because now I really want to watch it. But I don't think I'm gonna watch it before we do that review.
Yeah. Sarah's like, can we watch that? No.
Well, yeah, if she wants to do it very soon, I might just make it a like middle of the year video next year, and
Yeah.
you guys just have to deal with it.
I know. I mean, that's cool by me.
RJ Godzilla says, I forget these movies exist. Yeah, so here's what's fascinating. Sherlock Holmes comes out in '09. It makes 500 million, thereabouts. And the sequel comes out 2 years later, and it makes almost the exact same. Now, it costs a little more to make, but they both were still really successful movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've always put like 3 off just to how busy Downey was with
That was always
the
my
MCU.
assumption.
So when he left that, I was like, oh, I guess that's probably going to be one of the first things he does after that. We got Doolittle. That's the closest we got to it.
Yeah, like maybe for whatever reason, other people involved couldn't do that movie right then, and he was like, "Well, I need some project. I guess I'll do Doolittle."
Yeah, exactly.
This is a guy that was pretty good at picking projects up until that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of them were MCU ones, but it's true.
But I have a question for you.
Okay.
13 years, we are 13 years after that second movie now. And if you greenlit it and finally started getting the thing made right now, it wouldn't be able to come out until like 27 or 28.
Yeah.
Do you think that movie performs? Like, is there any chance it hits 500 again? Because I wonder if it's not a bit late now.
That's a hard question just because it's so hard to judge this stuff now.
Yeah.
Like, that could be a case where it could go either way. Either people are like, oh, man, that's back, or I've kind of just moved on.
Because I feel like
I could see it going either way.
It could be kind of a Sin City situation. But the difference is that only had one movie and everybody forgot about it and they didn't put a sequel out for 10 years. This had two and they both did the same money. Mm-hmm. But then again, I don't hear about it very much. So I feel like a lot of people would go, oh, that's... You would hear some, oh, that's obligatory. You're just going back to an old franchise. You're milking everything. It's like, if the, right people were making this and the right script was there, I don't think that would be a fair thing. They've wanted to make this forever. That's much more of a, for some reason it never happened situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now you told me you didn't even have to necessarily have that. You said it ends okay after 2.
No, I think 2 is like a perfectly fine ending. And I do think with the way it ends, having distance from it is good. Like, I feel like if they had made a sequel right away, it would have been weird. But then, is it maybe too late? I don't know. Yeah, but, like, I do still hear people talk about, like, oh, man, when are they just going to make Sherlock Holmes 3?
And then apparently they have multiple... and we hear this all the time, so grain of salt. But apparently they have multiple TV projects in the works for HBO Max that are supposed to be set in this universe. And I don't see how this is a shared universe. I don't think you should.
Guy Ritchie is making a young Sherlock Holmes movie now that I think comes out next year.
Oh, that's right. Is that supposed to be in this?
They just put out a trailer. I have no idea. I didn't look too deep into it, but like, it's period and it's him doing young Sherlock Holmes, so like, it'll probably feel like it. At the very least, I don't know.
Can I just throw this at you? If I'm this guy and Sherlock Holmes reminds me that my secret son is going to murder me because he's killed everyone else in my family.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm taking a bath without at least guards outside. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be this vulnerable.
Yeah. At this point in time, you can't have men hanging out with you when you're in the bath.
See, that's where you get some limitations in the social expectations of the Victorian era. It just gets a little impractical at some point. Maybe not as impractical as the sheer number of layers and corsets that women had to wear.
We're having a bathtub made of copper.
Look, they didn't understand electricity yet, okay? They didn't understand conductive material. We kind of dealt with that earlier. So yeah, this was huge trailer fodder.
Remove the pillow. There's a key there. He's like a sexually abusive Saw.
You know what? I want to take that out of context and use it. You know what's interesting? Sherlock Holmes has not a ton, but a little bit of voiceover here and there into this, but
Yeah.
Watson never does. And Watson is traditionally
Is the narrator.
The narrator. He's the like literally he's the guy that's writing Holmes' story. And so you translate that from the books to screen by having him narrate the thing. And we don't do that here. And also, he's not really writing any of this down. And so you can make two assumptions. One is, in this universe, they were flat out partners and he never did that. Unless it's talked about and I'm forgetting now. Is there anything about his recording their adventures?
I don't think we mentioned that. I think they are more just a duo here.
Because he could have been doing that, but he's just decided he's done with it because he's leaving now. They have a really good out for having him never sitting in a chair writing anything down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to mention that too, Robert. Robert just said that Watson does a bit of voiceover in the second movie.
Oh, interesting. Well, and I like the kind of device they used a minute ago where the voiceover is because he's talking to somebody in a car or in a horse and buggy, but he does do voiceover just for the audience a couple of times when he's sizing people up in fights.
Yeah.
And there's not any kind of device for that. We're just in his head there. And I guess narratively that's a little odd, because like this is a character that we're always like slightly walled off from, but then in those moments we do get right in his head. It's really effective for those scenes.
Yeah.
But I guess I could complain it's slightly inconsistent for the way you're telling the story. I guess. Didn't bother me while I was watching it though, so I don't know.
I don't think it's inconsistent. Like I think we're consistent in how we go in and out of that. So like,
you think?
Yeah, I think so. Especially because like we'll change how it's shot or how it looks for when we go into his mind like that, and it's like very specific things that he's doing. But that last one, because like you're saying, it's him talking and explaining it to somebody else in the next scene. In a comic, that is the like the caption box that is the start of dialogue for the next scene.
Other side of the page, yeah.
On the other side of the page, yeah.
That's exactly right. Well, I think the way the story is plotted is super graphic novel. Like you can see exactly what this would look like.
Yeah.
As a comic book.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they pitched it with like a 25-page comic, but when you say that, like, that makes a ton of sense.
I'd like to see that, because he hired, I don't know who it was now, but he hired an artist to do that.
Bernie Wrightson, like it's like beautiful art. We'll just never get to see it.
We were apparently doing that a ton during this period, where a comic book would be commissioned to be kind of adapted, or just to like show a studio what's possible and use it like storyboards, but never commercially released. And some of them, you'll see pages of them, you'll be like, you could have released that, people would have bought it.
Yeah.
Or you'll have movies that are technically comic book movies because they're based on a comic, but the comic was written to be adapted in the first place. And I realize that people make books now all the time hoping they'll get adapted, but I mean, like, we'll make the comic in the first place as it's being greenlit, and then we'll retroactively call that a comic book movie. That's not really a comic book movie.
No, I mean, there's plenty of things like that where they're essentially just being made at the same time.
Like Noah had that. I never saw that movie. Remember that Noah's Ark movie? That movie is technically based on it's technically based on a comic book. I did not know that. I've always been on the fence about whether it counts enough that I have to put it back here, because I don't know that comic was even released. I'm not sure if it was. Or if it was not made, and then people bought it, and then they decided to make a movie out of it.
Yeah. Huh.
Weird. Or at least I remember reading about that back then.
Yeah, I think maybe Kick-Ass or Kingsman are like that too, where they were basically just developed from the same like initial pitch.
Well, and yeah, and
Maybe both of them, I
Kingsman
don't know.
is like two different artists decide together to make the same thing in different mediums that go their own way entirely. So that's a weird situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Noah has a hardcover that came out in 14 and was written by Darren Aronofsky.
Weird.
Yeah,
I want to see the Noah superhero film just to see who the villain of that is.
Ari Hundel, who's an artist I don't know. No, Nico Heracon. I don't know who that is either.
Yeah, I don't know.
But isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Also, a lot more.
I never would have guessed that's a comic book movie.
A lot more explosions than you would expect in a Sherlock Holmes movie.
It's true, yeah. Like, I just got set on fire by Dracula.
And it seems like in the heat of the Industrial Revolution, it would be harder to contrive explosions than it would be now. RJ Godzilla, I think Cowboys vs. Aliens was also one of those. And that is one that I ended up going ahead and buying and putting back here. I decided it counted enough as a comic book movie. But that, I think, also kind of had that. I think that one actually might have been on sale longer and wasn't just made for him. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I did know that was based on a comic.
It gets really complicated.
Yeah.
I think
just love when people bring bodies into your office.
I think it's funny how Watson is thrown a little bit under the bus for not being able to tell that Blackwood is still alive. And when you get to the end of the movie and they're like, well, he took this he took this substance that simulates death. You just this look on Watson's face like, yeah, I should have known that though. Like
I do love though when they first find out that he's broken out of his tomb or whatever, his tomb of Dracula, and Watson's like, you're not gonna believe in this, are you? Like, we're not actually gonna go. And Sherlock's just like, yeah, I mean, it's a matter of principle. Like, no girl wants to marry a doctor that can't figure out whether a man's dead or not.
That's a great line. I also like that ultimately the mystery here is like, I don't know, I'm gonna phrase this weird, Austin. It's sufficiently and understandably convoluted.
Yeah,
we're like,
absolutely.
You could complain that it's too complicated and this villain would never pull it off, and it's too like retroactive, but it's different than a master manipulation plot that hinges on knowing exactly what every person is going to do in response to what you do. So like it's working its way backwards in a way, but in a way that kind of makes sense. And like, yes, it's convoluted, but in that like heightened comic book way, and the Sherlock Holmes stories were also somewhat like this. Where you work your way backwards in that this guy wants to simulate death and make everyone think that he has supernatural powers. So he would have to work his way backwards. He goes, I want everyone to think that I died and was resurrected or came back from the dead. How do I make them think that? So like that as an idea is working backwards. So it works more believably than a master manipulation plot. Some of this green screening does not look great.
Yeah. I mean, green screen like this seems to, always be the giveaway.
And I never understand why sometimes you believe that they're there and sometimes you don't. Because I sometimes think, well, all you had to do was soft focus the background and then I wouldn't be able to tell. But there are shots in this scene that are soft focused and they look really fake.
Well, that's some of the worst looking effect stuff in Lord of the Rings as well, is green screen stuff. I think a lot of it's just when it's just that and there's no like depth in the frame.
Yeah, it does help sometimes to put at least something in the foreground.
Mm-hmm.
But that by itself doesn't always do it either.
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley is so hard to detect sometimes. Like when you're making a thing, 'cause you're too close to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and sometimes there's also just, not enough time. Like you gotta pass on certain things.
Oh, look, we're in the Donkey Kong warehouse. This is
It's
where,
true, yeah.
This is where all the barrels go to put in all the levels in Donkey Kong Country. I mean, they had to come from somewhere.
Exactly. But yeah, if you don't know, Cranky Kong's actually the villain of the next one.
Wow,
He wants revenge. He's like,
that's a twist.
Sherlock destroyed our barrel horde.
How does that fit with Moriarty? Is Moriarty a Kong?
Yeah.
Or is Moriarty related to King K. Rool?
He's Professor Kong.
The decapitated pig heads are disturbing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a little unnerving.
No, this is just one of those classic pig and barrel factories.
Okay, wait, how do you know... How does that number get you to Revelation? I missed something with that. Because you got the numbers that get you to chapter and verse, but then Holmes immediately jumps to Revelation? And I'm not...
It might be just that's the verse that works for it, I don't know.
Whereas, like, immediately a creepy prophetic verse comes to me that fits this chapter and verse number.
Yeah.
And it must be that, because it fits this whole case. Okay, Austin, are you ready to talk about obvious superhero tropes?
Yes.
Because we got to do that. We got to go down the obligatory list, okay? I'm going to let you start. Give me an obligatory superhero trope that makes this inarguably a superhero movie. Go.
I mean, we're looking at one right now, which is the damsel in distress love interest.
That's right. We've kidnapped the girlfriend.
Yeah.
We went all the way to putting a gag in her mouth and putting her in a 60s Batman level trap.
Yeah. Mixed with like a kind of Raimi Spider-Man thing. Like, the way she's kind of hung up when we cut to close-ups of her remind me of that, too. Especially in Spider-Man 3.
Absolutely.
Or no, it would be Spider-Man 2, I guess, where she's in the factory and she's, like, chained up.
This is a real visceral kind of trap, too. Like, I really like the saws cutting the pigs in half.
Yeah.
Because you're graphically showing us exactly what would happen to a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that just obviously ups the stakes.
And you gotta do the classic bit of she falls and, like, her face goes, like, right next to it. That was probably a trailer shot.
I'm not sure if it was. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember offhand.
So, one thing that's kind of interesting is not only do I see this as a straight-up superhero movie, I think in some ways, Austin, it's a more classic superhero movie than a lot of the movies that were coming out around it. Because Holmes has a straight-up sidekick, and we hardly ever do that in superhero movies.
Yep. Just in general, like, we still haven't really gotten back around from that.
You almost have the villain that asks the hero to join him trope in a little bit later, we're going to have an ally of Blackwood who tells Holmes, or maybe it's happened already. I think it's a little later though, that tells Holmes that he would be a really good ally for Blackwood, and it's a shame that he won't just go on their side. So Blackwood himself doesn't say it, but that idea comes up. It's there.
Yep. No, very true. We have our villain set up like Thanos thing. It's like, we got the supervillain coming.
Yeah, it's set up more like Batman Begins, but like way better than Batman Begins. Like, imagine if Begins ended with not just the playing card, but we found out that the Joker was in the background making a couple of things happen that happened in the movie. I love that with Dez.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, Irene Adler is just Catwoman in this, but I also think she has a better role than Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. Sorry,
I agree.
Where she's working for one of the villains, but it's not the main villain of the story. It's like a different villain. Like, it's kind of like a whole thing.
Now, I will say this scene, like in the moment, it's super visceral. It seems potentially really tragic. It's a little, I don't know if gimmicky is the right word, but like it's a little bit misleading. Because like we slow,
it definitely is misleading.
It's a little misleading because we slow everything down and we're dead. Everything's literally crashing down for Holmes. There's an explosion that looks like it's taken Watson, and he's gonna be fine in 20 seconds.
He's got like a little arm sling. That's it.
I'm not.
Especially, I think the foul part for me is this last one where they're running towards where Watson was, and there's an even bigger explosion that sets them flying. That's the one where I'm like, okay, no, he's dead.
Because
you're cheating a little bit.
The reason you usually shoot, and it's all just because of the way they're shooting it. Because usually the reason that you give us a scene like this is you're saying, something horrible is happening that is changing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And retroactively, you can argue, well, it's just to get us kind of in Holmes' head so we can experience how horrifying that is in the moment. But you're right, like, it's in having those gigantic explosions, I don't even know how he would survive that, how Watson would survive that.
He's a doctor. Also, for the superhero thing, now that the cops are here, you also have like that nature of dependency thing.
Yes. And he's got his Gordon.
Yep.
So, at the risk of people thinking that now I'm going to have to go back and review and do commentary on anything that ever had Holmes in it, I wonder if this is making a case for Holmes as another proto-superhero that just predates a lot of the like comic pulp ones, because we talk all the time about how influential the Shadow is on Batman, and like how he is kind of just that character again, but more altruistic. And we talk about how Batman is also Zorro, and I think he is equal 3 parts those two characters in Sherlock Holmes. And
absolutely,
like that character is naturally in there. I don't think it comes up enough because he doesn't seem superhero like until this movie, but World's Greatest Detective, like, that's obviously in there. That's not a part of Zorro or the Shadow, really. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder if there's enough of those initial tropes, or like character traits that you couldn't call Sherlock Holmes a proto superhero. Maybe only in defining Batman, but in Batman being one of the like 3 most popular superheroes of all time.
Mm-hmm. Well, even, in his disguises, that first disguise where he's the homeless man is like a Matches Malone disguise.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
And now he's just Hugo Strange with hair.
Well, and he does the same thing, and like the Shadow does the disguise thing too.
Mm-hmm. No, very true.
I don't think Zorro does so much. I think he really just goes back and forth between the two personas. I honestly forgot about this disguise. Robert says Moriarty is also a proto supervillain. He was one of the inspirations for the Joker. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, and that's another case like a Blofeld and Bond where he doesn't really appear that much in the books. I think he might appear twice as opposed to once, but I think it's just that.
Moriarty is referred to in his second appearance in TNG, Ship in a Bottle, as an arch villain.
Oh, beautiful. Well, the most evil one is the Sherlock one, because I just don't want to have to experience him. He's so annoying.
Yeah, he's great in TNG because he finds a way to take over the ship to try to force Picard to figure out how to let him out of the holodeck. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a self-aware hologram, and so he just tries to strong-arm the crew of the Enterprise to do something that is physically impossible.
That's great.
And the way they solve
that,
is
I've only
great.
seen the parody they do of that with Futurama. I can't remember if they actually go to Moriarty in that. I know one of them is evil Abraham Lincoln, but I can't remember. There's like a couple people that they do.
So this is the place in the movie where I start going, man, they might just be going all the way with the supernatural stuff.
This also reminds me now of the Batman, when you have that whole thing where Alfred gets put in the hospital, and then Bruce is like shirtless, and he's got all the like paperwork on the floor.
Oh yeah, that's right. I like the bit at the end where Holmes is basically like, it's a good thing that none of this is actually real, because I could have conjured something. It's like, I did it all by the book. Like, if this is true, we would have seen some crazy stuff.
He's tripping out like he's Grant Morrison Batman.
Look, she really just is Catwoman. Look how she's dressed right now.
This scene, the way he wakes up with her there, also reminded me of Sleepy Hollow, where I was like, oh, this just looks like that movie now. But yeah, no, she's straight up wearing a Catwoman outfit now.
I love that line. Only a name and no picture. So, it is so crazy that this actress, just how weirdly prophetic this is, that she later on is going to be the love interest in Doctor Strange with Cumberbatch. And Cumberbatch, right around the same time, played Sherlock Holmes. So she's a love interest for both Sherlock Holmeses in different things. And the second one not is Sherlock Holmes. But that movie has actual magic and occult stuff in it. And this one does not. Like, how does this happen? It's just so weird.
Well, also, this movie ends with a big, climactic sequence on Tower Bridge. And we will eventually get a Spider-Man film about how he's going to carry the torch for Downey for him, which also has a climax on the Tower Bridge. And they both end in the exact same spot on the bridge.
I didn't think about that. That's nuts.
Yeah, that part where Sherlock Holmes is, describing, like, I know how you did it all, that's exactly where Spider-Man will fight Mysterio in 200 years.
Wow. and then the other sort of crazy connection with that with Doctor Strange is that MCU's Doctor Strange is kind of a like reinvented Iron Man because they have to like thread the needle and figure out how to do that character without just completely redoing what they did with Iron Man because they kind of took the like Doctor Strange motivation from that from that character for Iron Man, and then they decided to do Doctor Strange, and so she's dating in that movie the like second version of it, played by this actor. Yeah, that's weird.
This does make me go like, man, I really wish she was somebody else in Doctor Strange. Like if she was just Clea, because like we just cast her as a random woman, and like she's really good in those.
She's good in it. It's a little bit of a generic character, I'm sorry to say. She's got a couple of really good scenes.
I like when she goes full Evil Dead in the second movie, but they could have given her a better role for sure.
This map thing is classic.
Oh yeah.
You got to do that trope.
because we just watched Simpsons season 5. All I could think of was that bit in Homer, the Vigilante, where they're looking at the map and they're like, we can't see any correlation between all these places. But wait a minute, if you move these dots around, it looks like it's an arrow, and it's pointed right at us. So. He's a better detective than Wiggum. I can give him that.
Do you remember the AVGN video on Mario 3 where he's pretending like there's a giant occult conspiracy with...
Oh, is that where he does the giant claw thing where it's the spiral?
That's what I was going to say, with pentagrams, and then he makes a map and he goes, look, a perfect pattern! It's like 3 dots and he just does this.
Yeah, I think he's doing a parody of. I think it's the giant claw, where it's like that happens.
Oh yes,
like,
that's what it is.
It's attacked here, here, and here. Oh, it's...
RJ Godzilla, Doctor Strange shouldn't have had her character in that movie at all. You know what? She seems like a cool person. I'm glad she got work.
I think it just means the character. Like no,
I know, but I'm just saying it gave her work. So I'm glad she got work.
But she could have been Clea. I think she should have been fine.
I think so too.
I think I said that in the rewind.
Well, see, I didn't know anything about Doctor Strange when I saw that movie, and then or very much, and then later on, after you and I reviewed some Doctor Strange comics, I thought that too. I was like, when I met Clea in the comics, I was like, she should have just played her. Why didn't we do that? And it seemed really weird not to have his regular love interest there from the start.
No, because that's why it's a shame, because I do like his chemistry with Rachel McAdams, but they put in a character that's destined to go away, and it's like, you could have put a character that can stick around with Doctor Strange. I don't know.
It's like if you cast the perfect Lois Lane as Lana.
Yeah, there you go.
Be like, why'd you do that?
Yeah. And like, I'm excited to see Charlize Theron play Clea, but like, I don't know, I also really like Rachel McAdams. Like, I would have been cool with that.
I usually don't like
that she would get... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I'll just say real quick. I don't usually like the quick flashes to scenes we've seen before when somebody's explaining something, because it makes the... It's not giving the audience any credit. It's like, well, I was there, I remember that. I think when you're doing mystery stories like this, where you have a detective, I think that's an exception.
I think they also do a good job of making it a stylistic choice, where when it's really bad, it's because we just do it like once, while this is... We're doing it a lot, and especially there's things that are like very quick flashes that we're flashing back to. Well, so like, I think that also helps. Like, it just feels like it's part of the DNA of this more than other things that do that.
Well, and it goes to that detective vision thing from Arkham that you were talking about.
Yeah, and then we'll do stuff like this where we're flashing to things that we haven't seen either, but it's still in that style.
Yeah, or we'll flash to things we've seen, but we're zooming in a lot closer, because I think the reason it works with this, I think I just hit on it, is we're zooming in on the details that the audience would miss because they're not Holmes. And so it isn't just we're flashing to a thing in case you're dumb and we're just shoving your mouth full of popcorn and weren't paying attention. It's you wouldn't have noticed this that was like over in this corner, and you zoom in on it, and here's why it matters.
You know what? Now that we've said it, the score in the scene especially feels like it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. But it fits this movie.
No, I agree. I'm just saying more like I feel dumb for never really thinking about it in those terms. Like
I just think it has a ton of that DNA.
Like I said, I'm sure subconsciously that's a big part of why I like this.
And like eccentric, weird, like out of touch character that a lot of his
Downey looks like Popeye.
A lot of his charm is all of the like inappropriate against the societal norm stuff that he's doing, just like with Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm. He smoked out that coward. This whole plot thing where Blackwood, has the scientist that he killed that like invented all the stuff that he needs to do this plan. It also reminded me quite a bit of The Great Mouse Detective, where Ratigan kidnaps the scientist to make his queen robot to attack Parliament. It helps that they're both some sort of like British royalty or Parliament in this case.
Yeah, and I don't remember that movie well enough. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that my wife didn't make that connection, because she's also a giant fan of that movie.
Yeah. That's a great movie. I love that movie. Plus you get, oh my god, why am I blanking on his name now? The actor that plays Ratigan. My brain fails me when I need it. I don't know, but he's great.
It's been too long. I can't help you.
Yeah, he's the guy who does the talking part in Thriller.
No, it's Vincent Price.
Vincent Price, thank you. Stupid brain. Vincent Price is always awesome.
No, I enjoyed that because I got to watch the whole chat and just be like, you idiot, it's Vincent Price.
You moron, everybody knows Vincent Price. My 3-year-old deaf daughter knows who Vincent Price is, you moron.
I know we've talked a lot about this dynamic, but with these two guys, but I also love how playful it is, and how like there's obviously there's real places in a lot of places where Watson is really upset with Holmes and wishes he would treat him differently, and then there are places where it's like a dance they're doing, and the scenes will almost show. We didn't talk about this, but way toward the start of the movie, there's that scene where they're in the. I think this is one of their best scenes together, when they're in the horse and carriage, and they're arguing about the money that about like his being affianced, and then the money that Holmes gets betting for him. And he throws the thing out the window, and then there's just that shot where like Watson smirks, where like the whole thing is kind of a dance they're doing.
Yeah.
And he almost breaks character, not the actor, but like the character putting on a character.
Yeah. No, and I think now that they're a trio for this climax, like I think their dynamic still really works too. I've heard people complain that they don't like Rachel McAdams and think she's a really big weak spot for this movie, almost like a Katie Holmes and Begins thing, but I don't really see that.
I don't have that, but then I also never had a problem with Katie Holmes and Begins, so...
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, some of what could be distracting to people is simply that she's an American character in an otherwise British cast, and that changes the dynamic. Like, the movie makes it clear that that's what she's supposed to be, obviously, but I could see that kind of irritating a viewer, just that it might feel sort of off, because her, she does feel inherently more modern than they do. And I don't know if it's just because she has more of an American accent, or if it's because they're giving her what sounds to me sometimes a little bit more of a modern vernacular. Like, I don't think to the point where it totally breaks the period or anything.
Also, yes, Robert, Rachel McAdams is great in Red Eye. That is true. Oh, you should watch that, because that comes out the same year as Begins, and it's her and Cillian Murphy's the bad guy.
Is that like a evil guy terrorizing her on an airplane?
Yes.
I think I've seen that.
Oh, okay.
I forgot that was her. Rachel McAdams is one of those actresses that I don't realize I know who she is until I finally see that movie where I go, I've seen her before, and then I look at her list and I go, oh, I've seen lots of things with this person. And then it starts to really click in every time I see her in things.
Well, before we started streaming, we were talking about Jude Law, and I was saying, Jude Law is actor man, and that there's no specific role I think of him for. He's an actor man. He's in everything. Rachel McAdams both has that, and that she's in a lot of stuff. But every time I see her, I just think of Mean Girls.
I was going to say earlier, with the technology point I was making, Austin, this could have gone way too much in a steampunk direction, and it rides right up against it.
They get out in like a blimp or something. We get like a big action sequence on a blimp,
or it ends with a giant confrontation with like a steam-powered robot or something, like
a giant steampunk spider.
As it were.
Oh my god, Holmes, there's a big steampunk spider. Of course there is, Watson. Like 6 steps behind still.
I honestly did not expect this French henchman to come back. And I think it's kind of great that he's got a second round with him, just because that guy is so memorable.
Yeah.
And again,
it's a much smaller fight too. Like, it's not like we're getting huge with him again.
No, and that could have felt gimmicky and like they were milking it too much. That makes it feel a lot more story driven, where it's like, well, of course he's still being used because he's this big, scary, effective henchman. But we didn't talk about this earlier. Their banter when Downey switches to French is so much fun, and really kind of subverts expectations. It plays against the type of the scene, because usually if you had any dialogue in a scene like that, it would be like, I don't know, platitudes about motivations being passed back and forth between a hero and a villain, or it would be like just kind of, bad jokes, like making fun of each other. There it's again Victorian polite society stuff, where like they're being like polite and courteous to each other, and being like, give me just a second to get a second win. Like, that stuff it's so charming. Like, I love that, and it immediately makes this guy feel like a person. Like, he's not a developed character or anything, but there's just this spark of a person in there.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, to a point, because I kind of forgot the Moriarty bit at the end with the dead body. When they're talking about the dead body that was in these sewers, for a second I was like, "Oh, did we set up the French guy got away?" Oh no, that's right. We're still setting up Moriarty stuff.
Now, when you say it's a
Bridge.
smaller ending, like the fact that it all ends with him just breaking all that down is small, but this is a pretty massive set piece for the scale of this movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's big in that we're on Tower Bridge and it's not finished, but it's also just going to be Sherlock Holmes and Blackwater's going to kind of fight in this little, essentially, hallway, and it's a pretty short fight, and then it's immediately going to be, okay, now let me tell you, this is what's going down. Like that boat scene, I would say, is definitely the biggest action sequence in the movie.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Like it's one of those things where it is a big small climax at the same time. You know what I mean? Where like it feels bigger than what it is, but like when you actually break down what it is, it's pretty small.
The most contrived thing in the movie is about to happen.
Oh, she gets pushed off?
Yeah, and it makes it, because there's, like, that's a Gore Verbinski thing to do, where like, there just happens to be a platform right underneath her that's not too far down where she doesn't break her neck or anything. And I said this to Sarah while we were watching this the other day, if he was Spider-Man, she'd be dead.
But see, I was thinking Spider-Man. I was like, that's the Aunt May joke in Spider-Man 2, where she's on the statue, and she's slipping, and then she's like, the ledge is right under her feet.
That's true. But see, what I was thinking is, this is a bridge, and if this was Spider-Man, you would have had that platform underneath, and she would have fallen, and then he would shoot a web down, and then she'd break her neck. Like, so she'd be dead.
Sherlock web.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was like,
well, you see,
it's too bad he doesn't have a grappling hook on his utility belt.
No, he's like, you see, Blackwood, I actually, I invented this thing called webbing, and then he just shoots a web down, but that's what kills her. It's very tragic. Also, everyone in this movie is a bad shot. Which just makes sense for the time.
They are. Let me ask you this real quick. How would you, because this is just kind of on my list of things to make sure that we covered, how would you have felt, do you think? And obviously, I don't know how exactly they would have handled it, so, execution matters, but how do you think you would have felt if they did decide to go straight up supernatural with this? Where the end of this movie is Holmes thinks he's got it deduced, and actually this guy really is just back from the dead.
Yeah. I think I would like it a little less. Like, I do prefer the way it's handled. But, I mean, you could also win me over on that. Like, I'm not... Sherlock Holmes has been, adapted in so many ways. Like, I could have been fine with this being that kind of a take.
This is maybe not fair, but I feel like it's kind of a medium thing where I think it's harder to get the audience on board with maybe in a film in a way it wouldn't be in a comic. Like, if you did this as a graphic novel and it was exactly the same up until that point and then it turns out it's supernatural, you'd be like, I'm reading this really heightened, Sherlock Holmes comic. You would be less surprised by that. Like, if this was like Alan Moore's Sherlock Holmes, because I had that thought with this, where there's things about this that feel like this is how Alan Moore would have handled it in a comic book, in like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen kind of way or something. If
Sherlock Holmes versus like Sleepy Hollow, like the Headless Horseman type thing.
Yeah, where if he gets to the end of it and you weren't supposed to know that it was supernatural or not, and that it was, you might cry foul less in that medium.
Yeah. No, that's true.
But I also think it's a thing you could maybe earn in a sequel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting because we don't do any of that, like, in the sequel. Like, the sequel is doing a completely different thing.
Yeah. But knowing that the filmmakers I wanted to be as authentic to those stories as possible while making this big blockbuster out of it. I think it was really smart of them not to go there, and also
Yeah.
I don't think that was probably ever a discussion. You know,
No.
they talk in the special features a lot about Hound of the Baskervilles because that story apparently does the same sort of thing where it looks supernatural and Holmes has to figure out what's really happening. And this probably tries to make the audience guess at it more just because we're in a medium that does a lot of supernatural.
Yeah.
And so I think that's more of a
and
mystery
Hound of
for
the
the
Baskervilles
audience
one of the big.
than it would have been in a Holmes story.
Mhm. No, that's like one of the big stories too, is the Hounds of Baskerville. And then he goes out the same way as the bad guy from Tarzan, the Disney movie.
I
Every time I'm like waiting for him to drop a one-liner because it looks like he's about to.
Do you think maybe they
Probably
cut
for the
some?
best he didn't. Maybe. There's just something about the way he's looking down, like he looks like he's gonna be like, I guess it wasn't that long of a wait to the hangman, was it? Or something like that, you know?
You gotta have that really kinky, sexy moment there, Austin.
Yeah, remember when you made me naked in front of a housemaid?
You remember when you
And I
made
got
the
canceled?
trailer
Remember
for
when
this?
you got me Me Too'd?
You-
I can't get work now because of you, Irene.
and right after I did a movie in blackface.
I just did Iron Man, man. Like, I just came back. Come on.
Why are you doing this to me? My career is back to full on controversy. What's next? I'm gonna make Doolittle.
What's next? I'm gonna play the Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
You gotta have that poetic justice kind of death for your villain. Where like
Oh,
he
of course.
really does hang now. I like it's classy that it happens off screen. Like then,
Well,
then
yeah,
you
like
see
it's
it.
very impactful that we just see like the chain snap.
You have to show his body because it's this kind of movie, and if you don't have a body, then you have to wonder if he's going to come back. Like you have to show us that.
Yeah.
But I like that the actual hanging is off screen, and it's still really impactful because you see like when you see the chain get taut.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, they do have a reference to it. It's right there.
Oh yeah, there it is.
I forgot about that. Yeah. It's sort of weird that that is a reveal at the end of this movie. I've been waiting for 2 hours to know if Watson has been making journals about Sherlock Holmes' adventures. Now we finally know. It's like the inverse of what we usually do with origin movies, where it's like, this whole movie, Sherlock Holmes has been what you want him to be. It's not that he's finally Sherlock Holmes at the end thing, like they've totally subverted that, but they wait until the end to tell you just a basic foundational truth about this character. That's hilarious.
You're just waiting around like Millhouse waiting for Itchy and Scratchy to get to the fireworks factory. I hope somebody has made an edit where they walk in and Sherlock's hung himself and it just cuts to credits. I hope somebody's made that edit. I'm sure that exists. No, this kind of taught me a thing as a kid because like I didn't know that that's how you like fake a hanging. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Well, I also like the idea, because I don't think they're doing this, I also like the idea of just trying to fake the audience out that what just happened would make Sherlock Holmes... That's what makes him commit suicide? He just beat the bad guy on the bridge, and he saved Catwoman?
No, it's even better than that, Cap, because she's like, oh my god, Moriarty's so scary, like, don't trifle with him, we just got him hanging.
He's like... That's where he draws the line. He knows he's no match for this Moriarty guy.
He's a professor, that's scary. I mean, he's lucky that those belts were able to hold his weight against that noose as well.
Holmes trying to come up with that's another invention that he's trying to come up with is the hanging thing. Well, I guess he's just working his way backwards, trying to figure out how Blackwood did it. But that seems like a thing that you could do a modern version of with Tony Stark. Like, it just seems like a very Tony Stark sort of scene where, like, he's talking to Pepper while hanging. I don't know.
Let's be honest, Pepper, this is not the worst thing you've got me doing. He's hanging himself.
I also could see I have woken up in handcuffs before being a reply that Tony Stark would give to someone.
Oh, 100%. That is a reply that Tony Stark would say.
But I can't complain the characters are too close. Like, it's sort of the right sort of typecasting. And there's all these comparisons that I can make, but I don't feel like I'm looking at Tony Stark when I'm looking. Like, I do feel like I'm looking at two distinct characters.
Yeah,
they just have a lot in
Tony
common.
Stark's also a character we have seen woken up, handcuffed to a bed, just not naked. But that does happen in Iron Man 3.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's a Downey thing. Maybe they're like, "What do you want us to like? What do you want to do in this movie?" And he's like, "I want to be handcuffed to a bed in various states of dress.
I want to have a lengthy conversation while hanging.
I want to talk to robots. I want to talk while I'm hanging myself." I want to poison a dog.
Yeah, I feel really remiss having never gone back to this.
Yeah. No, I had that a bit today too, where I was like, "Oh man, like why haven't I gone back to this more recently? Like, why have I let it kind of slip by?" Also, Simon Kinberg being one of the writers.
He can't have done much.
I don't know that he knows how to write it. English.
Like, he is fourth on the list. He's right at the end. I'm going to assume that for some reason he was brought in to touch up something. Like, he did just enough he gets his name on it, but he didn't do enough to ruin it.
He looked at the script and went, "Oh, this French guy doesn't speak French. I'm going to put his line through Google Translate." And then he added that into the script, and that was it.
You know what his one contribution was?
What's that?
Now, this is not fair. Maybe he actually had some good ideas. Maybe this is the one character he had some ideas for. His one contribution is, let's make sure at the very end of the movie that everyone knows that Watson did journals. Like, that's all he gave.
I was really hoping you were going to say, at the end of the movie, the credits should look like it's on old parchment paper.
Well, it does have that Iron Man thing. You know, it's interesting these came out 2 years apart. These closing credits are kind of Marvel-y. Like, it has that Iron Man thing where he looks at the camera, he says the thing, and then immediately it cuts to credits. Like, it's paced like that.
Only a year apart, but yeah. No, that is crazy.
Did I say same year? I meant year apart, but yes.
You said 2 years apart.
I don't know.
I was just getting it out before chat.
I don't know what the hell I'm saying. It's crazy that they were a year apart.
Yeah. No, very true.
I don't know. That guy Ritchie can direct action, man.
Yeah. But you can also tell when he doesn't care about making a movie.
Yeah, remind me the like phone. Well, he made Cruella, right?
No, he made Aladdin.
Oh, okay. I knew he did one of those.
And he's doing Hercules, if it still happens. But
I wonder if that doesn't get canceled now.
I don't know. There was talk that it's being retooled, so at the very least, it's that.
Oh, good. They're not going to cancel it. They're going to make it worse.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he did Aladdin and then did like 4 smaller movies right after that were all really good. So it's like, he took that Disney money and went and made stuff he wanted to make. So I can't even blame him.
No, that's the logic of, look, someone was going to do this, and like nobody got hurt, so.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what's that? You want me to put Will Smith in as the genie? Sure thing, boss.
You know,
you got it.
I don't think that logic is okay in execution, but in making a crappy live action version of an animated Disney movie, like, okay. It's gonna get made by someone.
Yeah.
Nobody got hurt. I mean, I got a little hurt watching it, but...
But at the same time, it's not stuck with me. Like, it's bad. It's real bad. But, like, it didn't touch my soul, so I can at least go with that.
It didn't. I actually laughed at it more than it made me want to kill people.
Every now and then I think about Will Smith Genie sing rapping all of his songs, and I chuckle a little bit.
No, the R&B Jasmine song in the third act is
I forgot about
one
that,
of the funniest, most embarrassing things I've ever seen. And at that point, the only other movie I'd seen that actress in was as Kimberly in the Power Rangers 2017 movie. So I was watching Kimberly from Power Rangers dressed as Jasmine singing an R&B song in the Arabian Nights period. And that was very funny to me. Oh, while everyone was frozen in the scene. They do this silly thing where everyone has to stop moving, and then she does this whole song in, like, bullet time.
Yeah, and that's an actress I think is really good, but is still just kind of waiting for her, like, really great role.
No, she hasn't had a great project yet. Or that I've seen anyway.
Smile, too, but, like... It's not like an amazing movie or anything, but she's really good in it.
I think she's really good in Power Rangers. I mean, that whole cast is good.
Yep. I don't remember her in Aladdin, so I can't say anything about that, but I'm sure she's fine.
She did an R&B song, and it was hilarious. That's what I remember in Aladdin.
The only song I remember is, "Oh, you ain't never had a friend like me." Woo! What?
You know who else I don't remember in that movie? Jafar, because he was fucking nothing.
I also barely remember Aladdin in that movie. I only remember the genie.
Yeah, I don't remember Aladdin in that at all.
But those Disney remakes, like, their villains always suck. Like, they take some of the best villains in all of cinema and just make them terrible or just forgettable.
Yeah, with the exception of Gaston. Their Gaston is great.
Oh, okay, and I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast, but like, even like I like Jungle Book, but like, Shere Khan's like okay in that. He's fine. He's passable.
Yeah, Gaston's the only one from those that I actually saw that was like right straight out of that movie.
But apparently I think they maybe just canceled it. I don't know. There's something like that, but they were making a Gaston movie, like Maleficent or Cruella.
No, don't do that.
No, the only reason to make that movie, to make a Gaston movie, is so that everyone can respond with, "No one has their own film like Gaston." That's the only reason to do it. Like, there's no other reason for that to exist.
No, they added a really great extra line in that song, where they said something like, "No one sings all these endless refrains like Gaston." I was like, that's great. He's like, it just keeps going.
They should special edition it to no one spins off like Gaston.
Anyway, I don't know how this turned into a conversation about.
I mean, it's Guy Ritchie, so like, there's a connection.
It's crazy how much of a product of a different time this is now.
Yeah, no, very true.
You know, I mean, you were spot on earlier when you said like this is kind of right at the tail end of these kinds of blockbusters. We just don't make them anymore.
One of the last kinds of adventure movies.
Oh, something else.
Good adventure movies, because like we do a couple of those, but they're all bad.
Something else I meant to mention, because I thought it was a different instrument. I didn't realize it was a piano, but that main kind of quirky theme that I said makes it kind of sound like the Dexter theme. I read that Zimmer achieved that with an out of tune piano that he bought for like $200.
Weird. You went down to a thrift shop and got a broken piano.
Yeah, it was like this broken piano that couldn't be fully tuned, and he got that sound out of it. And I was like, that's cool.
That is neat. That's kind of something different.
Anyway, well, I unfortunately, and I'm sorry about this, completely forgot, despite the fact that we had a month to do this, I completely forgot to put out the prompt for Patreon reviews. So I put it out a half an hour before the show, and I meant to say at the beginning, I'm just dropping the ball everywhere, I meant to say at the beginning of the show tonight that people had time while we were doing it if they wanted to get those in. So hopefully, if you're a patron or on the Patreon Discord, you noticed it and you had a chance to put it in. I'm going to refresh this and see if anybody got one in. And I don't
have any.
Expect any, but apologies for forgetting to do that. Yeah, I didn't get any on Patreon anyway either. So after the fact, obviously in comments, let us know if you enjoyed this movie or not, and what your
and Daniver says he's having issues with his Patreon, so he just put it in the chat too.
Did you see his?
Yep.
Because I'm not sure where it is, but yeah, if you'd read his. He did put the. Yeah, would you read it?
Yeah, because I don't have any on Discord. So, okay, so here's my review. The first time I saw this film, I thought it was a middling attempt to make Sherlock Holmes into a modern action hero. But with hindsight, the movie is a lot better than I gave it credit for. It's fun, the action scenes are exciting, the supporting cast rules, and Hans Zimmer's string-heavy score is enjoyable. And Robert Downey Jr. is great in the title role. With this film, he proved that Iron Man wasn't a fluke. It's not fantastic, and I still have some misgivings with it, but for what it is, it works. Hero.
Well, thanks for giving us something for this segment. I really appreciate that. No, that was a great review. I don't know if this just feels really refreshing after a lot of the kinds of things we've gotten lately and some of the not great things, Austin, that we've reviewed from the same period on this show recently. Like, I don't know if my standards are just too low right now. I could not find a whole lot of fault with this time around.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Like, I feel like it's a really tight movie. Sorry, I just realized I didn't put it on my ranking, so I'm just putting it on there while we're talking.
Oh, yeah, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, seems good.
But I had the same experience he did in the theater. I remember having pacing issues with it. Like, I remember thinking that, and I don't know if you ever have this with things, Austin, where you'll have a distinct vision of something where you're like, I watched this movie and there was this one scene that stuck with me as kind of indicative of why the whole thing wasn't great or wasn't what I wanted. And then you'll go back and look at it years later and you can't even find where that moment was in the movie. Like, I remember there being some scene in this where the action just dragged on too long. And I don't know where that was, because I didn't have that this time.
maybe the boat scene. That's the only one I can think of.
Maybe.
Like maybe that just went on like a little
I
bit too long, but
I didn't have it this time.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I mean I think it is a good job of having action to kind of space itself out. Like it's put in really sparsely and in good moments, I think, to help drive the plot forward and just make it feel less dry.
I think I also appreciated the Pirates movies more going back to them because that was never really my thing. And when
Yeah.
when you and I went back through them, I had kind of a new look at them. I had kind of a new appreciation of them. And so
Hmm.
being reminded of those watching this was actually a boon to it for me.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that.
So yeah,
It's yeah.
sorry, good.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, and this was such like an important connective tissue movie for me at the time, where it was like, oh, and I like detective things. Like this is cool, and it probably helps that you have that flavor to kind of introduce it to me as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, I really dismissed it at the
Hmm.
time. And the other thing, like I said, that really stuck out to me this time was just the cool juxtaposition of the authenticity of the period and the modern action direction.
Hmm.
That that formula really worked for me this time around.
Yeah, and then like Daniver said, like the cast all around is really great.
Yeah, but like I think I like it more than he seems to with that review. Like I would definitely go higher than Hero with it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, same here.
Let's go ahead and get your rating first, because I am
Yeah.
really between the top two tiers right now. Like I don't know if I can go quite to Legend with it, but boy, I'm right because I'm not finding much fault with it. You notice I criticized like damn near nothing.
No, we were pretty glowing. No, I have the same thing. I'm kind of stuck between the two. So it's either like on the lower end of Legend or like higher end of superhero for me.
Yeah,
And
it's right where
it's
I'm
just
at.
trying to decide where I'm gonna land on it. But I mean, like you said, I had a very just like, oh, it was so nice just coming back to this. Like it was really fun getting to relive this movie again.
And for
And
me, it was like seeing it for the first time.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um,
So I'm kind of worried I have this almost weird version of recency bias. Like it's not recent, but I just mean like I just watched it and I'm real kind of high on it. And if I go back to it in 5 years, I might be somewhere in between where I was in the theater and where I am right now. I feel like if I was
yeah.
doing a written rewind on this, it probably hits a 3.5. It probably doesn't go quite to 4.
Hmm. No, and that's fair. Uh, this is really hard. This is for me to pick. Uh, hmm. I'm gonna go with a high superhero, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's correct. I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm a bit I think I've said this before. I'm a bit of a legend whore. I throw that one out maybe too much. I'm gonna go with superhero.
I have been stingier with it than you have,
Yeah.
certainly. And I was always pretty stingy with fours. So if I had gone first, I would have said superhero. I'm gonna stick to my guns with that.
Yeah.
But boy, it's close.
Yeah.
But I don't
No,
feel like it's quite a Mask of Zorro or a RoboCop.
okay, when you put it like in those terms, like yeah, certainly. Uh, so like that probably furthers that gap and
Yeah.
puts it more into superhero.
Um. So let's go ahead and go to rankings now. And Austin, I've got it just under the Red Hood, which is my 9. So I have it at 8 right now. It's between Days of Future
Oh
Past
wow.
and Under the Red Hood. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was shocked by how much I like this and how little I found fault with it.
You
And
actually have it higher than I do, which
isn't
is
that
very
crazy?
surprising to me.
But I'm
Yeah.
looking at this
I mean,
and I'm going.
I could see tinkering around with my list, but yeah.
I'm looking at this and I'm going. I I like Under the Red Hood. I didn't have quite as good of a watch the last time you and I looked at it. I still like it more than you do.
Yeah.
And I had that over Return of the Joker, which would definitely put this over. I think even as much as I like that.
Yeah.
So that's why it ends up winding up where it's at.
No, I mean I think that's a fair placement.
You at the moment have it at 11. You have it right under Hercules and right above Punisher Warzone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But like it I don't know. I feel like I could tinker with stuff. I don't know.
What's great is if you put it, because like I don't see how you put this under Toxic Avenger, but I don't understand your thing with Toxic Avenger. So if you put it above Toxic Avenger, as you should, you would have it almost in the same spot that I do.
That's true, yeah.
But you don't have to do. You do whatever you want to.
Well, I do feel like,
but you do whatever you want to.
I do feel like my number 8 to 12 are interchangeable. Like it could go in any order.
Sure.
But
well, you're not being inconsistent. Yeah. You don't have it above any legends.
No, I mean I'm sure I'm inconsistent about stuff like that because I don't remember a ton of these. Like I don't even know. Like I maybe just gave Mystery Men a superhero. I can't remember.
I don't remember either. I thought you might have gone Legend with that one.
I feel like I also could have gone Legend with Warzone because I love Warzone, but
I'm pretty sure you didn't go that far. But
probably not.
You know, we might want to go in here at some point and make notes in these where we know what the ratings are.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I would have to meticulously go back through all the videos and see what we said because I won't remember all the ratings. We've done 54 of these now.
Somebody tell us what our ratings were in the comments.
God, I should hire somebody to do that, like pay them in comics or something.
And then you'd have to pay them. You should just demand the audience do that for free.
No, I mean I could do something nice for somebody. Like
make somebody in the audience do it and then join Patreon so they're also paying you to do it.
No, I mean I could probably get somebody to do that for something that doesn't have to be cash money. Like
yeah, for sure.
I'm being cheap because it's funny.
Yeah. I'm definitely just doing that because it's fun.
Austin's like, I'm just cheap.
Exactly.
Well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching the Commentary Project. Like I said, this is going to be the last of these this year. We're going to come back as soon as possible and finish as much of the bottom 50 lists as we can, which is kind of a Superhero Rewind adjacent series. I don't know that we'll get all of that done before the end of the year. And this is officially our last channel video of the year before I go on hiatus. I'm going to try to do, just of stuff that's scheduled right now, I'm going to try to do at least one of those with Austin and maybe another Captain Logan show before the year is out, like in between Christmas trips and stuff. We've had some somewhat big news lately. There's that Avengers Doomsday teaser that leaked that everybody's talking about. Might want to weigh in on that whole thing.
Might want to wait till because they're putting out 4. You might want to just wait till they're all 4 are out.
Till they're actually out.
There's like nothing in that first one.
No, that's true. But well, people are freaking out with it because it's Chris Evans. I thought we already knew he was in it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, is that news?
I don't think so.
I thought maybe I was wrong and it really is news.
It also does the endgame thing where like it holds the text really long, where it's supposed to be like, "Oh man, I'm so excited," because it's like Steve Rogers will return.
Dude,
And it's like, okay.
I guarantee you that's going to pop up. So, well, if that's the case, Austin, and I knew they were doing 4 teasers, but it's just everybody's talking. Maybe it's just because people are trying to get clicks. I don't know, but like everybody was talking about that like it was bigger news than I thought it was. So I thought maybe I should do something on it. But
Well, most of what I've heard since Avatar came out and it's been playing in the theater is that, like, a lot of people are just saying that like audiences aren't really reacting to it in the theater. But I don't know if that's just anecdotal. It probably is. Who knows?
I mean, that's been the online consensus so far. Like that's what I keep hearing. Is like people aren't excited about it. Like when these actually drop, officially, publicly, I don't know that you're going to have more than a lukewarm reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, we basically just talked about that first teaser.
Plush DX says it's news how much he will apparently be the lead. Yeah, that's the part of it I keep hearing where people are freaking out because it's like people are calling it like Civil War 2 now, where it's like, oh, okay, it's just gonna be Chris Evans it's just gonna be Chris Evans versus Downey again. Like we've done that already.
Which I don't really know how that's like what we're getting from like a 10-second teaser, but I mean, I'm sure that's what they're doing. Like, I'm sure they're cashing in on, look, it's Chris Evans versus Downey again.
Yeah, but it's not a confirmation of anything.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like it's just he's gonna be in it.
Yeah, it's weird the way we come to a consensus, not fully knowing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
anyway,
I don't know.
But
what are we doing next time?
So yeah, I'm just saying. Suffice it to say, Austin and I are going to come back and try to do some of the top 50. We may have some kind of a Captain Logan show. Let me try to pull up the wheel. So, thanks for keeping me on track, Austin, because I almost forgot to even set up the next show. So, for the start of next year, since we're in the middle of our 50 least favorite superhero movies of all time list, we thought we would open next year with a movie that one of us or both of us don't like. Why not? We were going to do this for the end of the year. It didn't work out. We're going to do this for the start of the year now. And I have on a wheel, so there's a lot of movies here. I have included the bottom 30 on each of our lists that we've already gone through, minus DCEU movies, because we did a whole mania for that last year. And I'm going to stave those off for at least a little while longer because we just did commentaries on them a few months ago, and obviously nothing that we've already done on the commentary project is on this wheel, but I've included everything else, and there's at least one movie on both of our lists on this wheel that the other person likes. So that's interesting. It is possible that something will come up that you and I will vehemently disagree about. And then there's a much larger percentage chance that it will be a movie that neither of us like, possibly to different degrees.
I'm pretty sure this wheel for me is just super is a piece of hay and a needle stack.
Yeah, and I have that with something on your list.
Yeah.
Well, I guess The Marvels, which, like, I don't think is a great movie, but I like it a lot more than you do, and it was at the bottom of my top 100.
Although, is that one old enough?
The Marvels? That was 23, was it not?
I don't remember. Here, I can look it up quickly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's 23. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's old
I don't
enough.
know why. I think because of the Madam Web thing, now I'm like paranoid.
Oh, that's fair enough. That whole thing was hilarious. Hey, I'm glad we did it. That's whatever.
Yeah.
All right, here comes the wheel spin. Are you ready? Are you excited?
Oh, big whammy, no money. Let's see. What are we getting? The bad one.
Here it comes, and we're stuck with... Oh, no!
Oh, God. What is it?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Austin.
No, don't say that. What is it?
It's Power Rangers 2017.
Oh, that's fine by me. That's on the higher end. I think that movie's okay.
Well, yeah, but I figure you won't enjoy that because you'll have to listen to me just complain about a franchise that you don't care anything about. Because that's like one of my franchises.
No, that rewind. I'm gonna sum it up for everyone right now, in case you're like, I'm busy that night. That rewind is gonna be Kat being like, "This is all the franchise stuff that they got wrong," and I'm gonna, this movie's okay. It's fine.
Can I suggest though that you're having not seen it in a long time? You could go back and have a really rough watch with it. I think there's every possibility that you'll come into this and you'll go, "Wait, no, that was really boring." That's my prediction.
That is true.
Is you're going to be bored to tears this time, and you're going to go,
yeah.
"Oh, I guess on first viewing, like some of these characters were kind of cool, but now I'm bored." I think that's what you'll do.
That's very possible.
Robert says this totally happened because Kat mentioned Power Rangers 2017 earlier. Well, and I feel bad about it because
it's all your fault.
And it's been a few years now. I mean, I guess it's been long enough, but I did that on the old Unscripted show. And I've been staving those off as long as I can because I've done them relatively recently. But that was probably 3 or 4 years ago now.
No, I feel like out of all the movies on that wheel, I feel like that was one of the better ones. I'm fine with that. That's okay. That was a little bit of money, no win.
And I've really turned on it. Like, it's certainly not a top tier bad movie. Like, I didn't put it in my top 20 or anything, but
it still made your 50.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. We will see you again real soon. And again, I am technically on hiatus now. We'll come back and do a couple of things, but I'm not going to come back officially with a regular schedule until the beginning of next year. And as always, if you want to help support the program, patreon.com/geekvolution. At the $10 tier, you can become a Patreon producer. And at the $5 tier, and I'll read your name at the end of the show, and we do hangouts on Discord, fun stuff like that. At the $5 tier, you can, when I remember to put the prompt out, you can put in a Patreon review that I will read ostensibly at the end of the show. So I want to say thanks to all of our producers and all of our patrons, no matter what tier you're at, but especially our producers, including Jesse Surtees, Jajira, Justin Hayes, Victor, Super Billy, Elliot Slater, Dr. Hello, Goofster123. I feel like I'm rushing this. I feel like I got to slow down a little bit. Joe Turner.
You gotta slow down and show like the strategy of putting out each name and then say them all really fast.
Slip Maker, Killer Moth Returns, Matthew Brody, Abix Stark, Kareem Roberts, Damon Begay, Adam March, Cereal and Pigs Fly, Hot Soup, Michael Martin, Kate Blaze, Captain Coon. Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for helping us out on the channel, and thanks for monetarily, and thanks for watching in general. Austin, it's been a good year. We went to a 5-day-a-week schedule, and I feel like I've done a lot more this year than usual. It's been fun.
It's true, and we enter scary times with the superhero movies of 2026. We'll see where we're heading.
That's true. Yep. So stay tuned, everybody. I don't know for sure if I'm going to stick to 5 days next year. I might be scaling back slightly, but don't worry, we'll be here. We'll have stuff out for you, and we appreciate you. In the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and this was Austin, the Day Ghost.
Case reopened. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.